Okay, we are trying this again, and hopefully, this will be a success. Oh my gosh. I swear it's like YouTube just doesn't like me. Me. Okay, well, at least I can hear myself now, I suppose. That's fine. Okay, well, at least I can hear myself now, I suppose. That's fine. Okay, well, new link because YouTube doesn't like me. You know what? I'm just gonna publish it. It doesn't need anything extravagant. Okay, cool. Hi. I swear YouTube just like has something against me because there's no way I'm doing anything wrong. Oh my god. So I'm just like, hey, Anne. Yeah, there is sound. I don't know what's wrong with YouTube. So it's like when I schedule the live sessions, if I schedule it, then it decides, oh, once you start the live, we don't want to start it for anyone else. And then this time, and I think it happened one other time before, like long ago, I did a live and it's like, we don't want you to have any volume. And I'm like I try to schedule these lives so that everything is already set up and put together in the description and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, am I just gonna have to not schedule them? Because I want like a reminder to go out to everyone in advance um, before we get started. But it looks like I may not be able to do that because what is what is YouTube doing to me? I don't know. So I guess we'll be giving everyone a chance to come in again. YouTube, what did I ever do to you? Okay. YouTube seems to go wrong when you least need it to go wrong, right? And I prepared myself so well. Like, I even started a few minutes early. Mind you, I didn't say anything, which I guess I should have in retrospect. But I was like, ooh, it let me go live. So everything is fine. Boy, was I wrong. And even though technically people on YouTube would get the notification that I'm live, I am still going to put it in the community just to have it here. So, create a post, new link. Okay. Anyway, so I guess we'll give people time to come in. I know there were several people who were already here waiting. Gosh. So, I won't complain anymore. How are you guys doing? Are you guys doing well today? Because I am, for the most part. I've been having a good day. Um, I went to sleep before 2, but still woke up at 7. I thought I would be able to sleep in like till 9. That is what I truly wanted to do. That is not what my body allowed. Hi, Rubies. How are you doing? um, So yeah, I what 5 hours of sleep, but that's fine. I have plenty of energy, and I'm ready to dedicate all of this energy toward being hurt one last time um, before we completely move away from this. Right? Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Just making sure everything is fine. So we've got a lot to cover today. Oddly enough, even though we are not covering the entire volume 7, we still have a lot to cover because I put in a lot of work for this last one. You said you're eating. Ooh, what are you eating? I ate this morning cereal, Cinnamon Toast Crunch to be specific. One of my all-time favorite cereals, honestly. Like you just can't go wrong with Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Um, and water. I had water. Oh, you guys, I want to share something with you because it's so cool, at least to me, because I've never really had this experience before, but this new apartment that we moved into has been, well, very peaceful, number one. But ever since we moved in, I prefer natural lighting to the lights in the apartment, even though I am using them right now just to make sure everything's perfect here. But we have a huge window in our bedroom. And so I always open the blinds and read and just keep it open pretty much all day and all evening. And I noticed every day that there was this stray cat, which I now know is a tabby, but it just walked by, just roaming around. And I was like, oh, that cat looks cute, from a distance I could see. But then a couple days ago, which those of you who follow me on either TikTok or Instagram already know this, shrimp with black rice, avocado, and cucumber. Interesting. I haven't had shrimp in so long. I used to love it, but I stopped eating it. Not because I don't love it, but yeah. So anyway, this cat was walking past by every day, just roaming. And then finally, not yesterday, the day before yesterday, it came onto my patio and it just like sat there. Hey, Freya, just got from work. Whoo, man. Well, you're dedicated. Thank you. So this cat came and sat on the patio and was just chilling and looking at me. And as soon as I got up to go over to the window, it ran. And so I thought it left, but it really just ran to the other side of the patio and was still sitting there. And we were just like at each other. And I was like, hey, I don't know why you're coming, but like, how you doing? Basically, because it came earlier that day as well. And so I had felt this strange urge to feed it. And I've never felt that way about a cat before. I'm not a cat person. I'm not anti cat, but I'm not yay cat unless it's in fluffy form. So anyway, you said, "Oh, that's cute. I love cats." That's nice. I don't. I don't hate them, but for me, it just depends. So I was like, I have this strange urge to feed it. Now, mind you, I didn't really want to do that because I know once you start feeding a cat, it's going to start depending on you to feed it continuously. And to just randomly stop would be cruel. But also, I was like, could it possibly bring more? I'm not about to become the cat lady, married, but cat lady. Also, it's just not in my budget to feed a cat. So I was like, I can't go to the grocery store and get cat food because I'm financially kind of in a tight spot because my job was like Thanksgiving, snip, snip hours, Christmas, New Year, snip, snip, snip hours. So I'm thinking ahead, with my money, and there are things I cannot spend money on. So anyway, I'm like, I can't feed it. I kind of don't want to feed it, but I still feel compelled to do something. So I talked to my husband first because it's a stray cat, and I was like, I don't want to make a decision without like talking to him about it because I don't know if this could affect us or not. I've never dealt with stuff like this. And so I was like, can I give it water at the very least? Because I don't know where it would get water from where I live. Like, I feel like it would be easier for it to get food than it would for it to get water. And so he was being silly. He's like, no, you can't. And I was like, but I feel compelled. And he was like, that's because it's doing witchcraft on you. He doesn't like cats. But he was like, I'm just kidding. You can totally feed. He was like, is it going to pay? Does it pay rent? And I was like, yeah. And so he was like, okay, then you can give it water. So we actually have a water purifier. And I put water out the day before yesterday. And I saw it like walking by, but it never came. And I was like, okay, I'm sure it's like she put something out there. Do I trust it or do I not? Not to mention, I did see that our neighbors beside us also have little bowls outside, and I saw it coming from that way before. So I know that it is well fed. It looks healthy as well. Um, and then I saw like two different cats. One was really orange that went on my patio, and I was like, get away. This isn't for you. It's for the other one. And so it walked by many times the day before yesterday, but it did not drink anything. And when I brought the bowl back in, I was like, well, my neighbors are taking care of it, so maybe I should just leave it alone. But I was like, no, like it was probably just suspicious. So I put out more water yesterday and it came and it drank. It was funny because it like walked by a couple of times really slowly, like I'm thinking about it. And then we have like this area right next to our patio that has a bunch of bushes that you can hide in. And so it hit there and it stayed there. I know it did because about 30 minutes later, it came out with something in its mouth. I don't know what it was, but it had it. It walked by again a little bit later, really slowly. And then finally, it came onto the patio and it drank the water. And I was very, very happy. So I put water out again today. And actually, my husband, I was in the restroom doing my hair, and he was like, "Hey, that cat is that you're giving stuff to that's mooching off of us is here." So it already came by this morning, and I know it'll probably come by again in the late afternoon. But it made me so happy. Like I was really giddy about it. I don't know. I'm excited. So yeah, that's my little story for today. I have officially given water to my first stray. Will I be making it my pet? No, I will not. Um, but it's nice. It's really, really cute too. If I'm ever able to, I will get good footage of it because so far the footage has just been so. But yeah, let's see. Anne says grew up since an infant with cats and dogs around. Oh my. So when I was very young, I don't remember the age. My mom actually got me a kitty, but I didn't keep it for long because she felt like I didn't take good care of it. I was a very young child. So anyway, she got rid of it. And then when she married her first husband, we got a dog. It was a pit bull, sweetest thing could be. His name was Rock. And then we got another dog. It was her name was Diamond, also a pit bull. And then we got another dog. It was another pit bull. And this was like fourth, fifth grade. And its name was Tigga. Then Diamond and Rock decided to bump uglies and had lots of puppies. Um, Obviously, that's all in the past. And then after that, I lived with my biological father for a month and he had a dog. And then a couple years ago, my husband and I actually had a dog. So it's been mostly dogs for my life. But anyway, let's see. It is 10:18. Technically, I would wait until 20 before we get started, but we are actually going to go ahead and get started. So yeah. Anyway, that's all. How are you guys doing this morning or evening or night, depending on where you are? I hope you all are lovely because we are about to be tortured just for one last time before we are officially done with all things Remnants of Filth or all things YUWU, however you want to put it. And I'm ready to be done, but I did not want to do a disservice by not covering the official ending of the story and then going over some other things. So today, just to give you guys a quick rundown, we are going to be covering chapters 90 through 96. We are not touching the extra at all, not even the 8 chapters that I read. I don't want to do a disservice. I also did not finish it, so it really doesn't matter. Anne says, I'm getting ready to be heartbroken. Yes, while doing chores. Oh, God. Yeah, I'm so sorry. Then we are going to cover a couple of names, not all of them, because we did many of the names in the beginning, but there are some that I wanted to specifically point out. We're going to talk specifically about Prince Mengze, and then I am going to talk about my favorite comments from you guys from volume 1 to volume 7. And then after that, we're going to do some song analysis because there are 2 songs that I found accidentally that I believe fit this very well. And I did put the links in my description. So if you guys after this live session would like to go and listen to them on your own, add them to your playlist or whatever, you can totally do that. But anyway, let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Man, and it's been so long since we've read it now that we're imperialists. So, Volume 7, Chapter 190. We start out getting the recounting of Hua An's life. And after discovering his family history, him basically being a Muzhong, but on the side that lost, his heart was filled with hate. So he deliberately placed himself in Chun Tong's path, knowing that Chun Tong was very tenderhearted, exactly the kind of person he needed to advance his cultivation and ultimately reach his goal of seizing power. Now, his initial goal was to seize power over Chonghua. That's not necessarily how things worked out for him. So while he was under Chun Tong's tutelage, if you will, he felt some guilt because Chun Tong was always kind to him. Despite his lower status, he was like, all slaves are equal to us. Everyone can cultivate, and everyone has the same kindness in their heart. And so he treated him kindly. And there was even one time where he wasn't doing well, and Chun Tong was right there for him. Nevertheless, this guilt did not deter Hua Puan, and he began to even feel a thrill at the thought of not only conquering Chonghua, but like also Chun Tong himself. So eventually, we know what happened with the demon blood beast in Chun Tong. He sacrificed his life, and Hua Puan was sent into madness after that. And he was determined to bring Chun Tong back and even Chun Tong used a soul summoning method from one of Chun Tong's cousins and basically put Chun Tong's memories into this cousin whose first name and original name we do not know. And so after resurrecting him, if you will, Hua Puhan took him hostage basically and violated the hell out of him. And it said in the book that it was an act that even shocked himself. Okay. But anyway, he did it. And later, he even cast a curse on Chantang to sever his memories of his previous life and bonds to ensure that he would never again sacrifice himself for his country or for anyone else. And then one day, a Liao servant named Su Yurou took Chantang away from that nightmare, escaping with him and the reversal stone. And she used this stone to erase all of his memories and the curses and renamed him Jiang Fuli. Now, this act came at a cost to her. She was once a peerless beauty, much like Feng Xiao, and half of that beauty was destroyed on her face, leaving that half to look monstrous. So she ended up hiding her face behind a veil. So now we have that full story on her. And she placed this reversal stone into Jiang Fuli's left eye. Oh my God. And as they traveled, Jiang Fuli occasionally asked her questions that hinted at fragments of his past resurfacing, or not even his past, Chun Tong's past. And he even rewrote the water parting sword spell, which he had once created for Hua Puan, and would ask her, didn't I have a disciple that blah, blah, blah. So anyway, they hid in the mountain for years. Both lived for centuries because Hua Puan had used immortality thing on them. And that was shocking to her because she didn't know that they lived for that long. So rumors spread that Hua Puan had died. Su Yuzhou felt relieved for a time, but she also felt a sense of foreboding, and especially after she heard about the Guo Shi, which gave her that terrible sense. And she and Jiang Fuli left hiding, and during their travels stumbled upon the massacre that happened at Lichuan village. There, we learned that it wasn't the Guosher who saved Li Qingqian and his baby brother. It was actually Jiang Fuli, which was honestly quite surprising to me. I was like, oh my God. And he gave him the water parting sword manual as well. So that was a little cool connection all the way to the beginning of the story, the series. So after enduring multiple assassination attempts, they realized they couldn't wander freely anymore. So they went to Chonghua to test whether or not Hua Po-an was truly dead. She planned a grand wedding with her and Jiang Fuli, even though the feelings and stuff weren't really there. And she exposed the beautiful side of her face, and soon the rumor spread. The Guosher heard about this, so he began hunting women, and killing women that resembled her, confirming that, yeah, Hua Po-an was definitely not dead and was disguising himself as the Guosher. Which now that I think about the fact that she didn't say anything about this before. Okay. So anyway, this revelation ties back to when Sujiro whispered something to Ling Qingtian, and it was basically him finding out that the Guosher's obsession and sense of betrayal was never from her, but from Jiang Fuli. And like, hey, this is also the guy that saved you in your brother's life. So before leaving, now we're back in the present. Jiang Fuli gives the reversal stone to Moxi and explains to him that it can reverse history, even death. You could bring back Gumang, you could bring back Murong Chuyi. And he says that only Moxi has the power to use it and stop the growing of the blood pool and change everything. Let me read this comment really quick. You said that last point surprised me too about Jiang Fuli in that village. Yeah. I was like, oh, okay. Nice little circle back. So, the stone, it says it doesn't carry a curse, and instead it reflects the soul and spirit and sees into one's heart. No harm will be inflicted upon the world, as fate has already been written. But no one understands what that means. So, according to Jiang Fuli, the hexagram foretold that Moxi must travel back to the moment before Muzhong Lian met Gumang and destroy the demon blood beast box in the past, so that hopefully it wouldn't exist in the present. Basically, all of that stuff would never happen. And he warns Moxi that he might die in the attempt, but of course, Moxi doesn't care because he already lost his Gumangaga. So then we go to chapter 191, and Moxi travels back 3 years into the past. Gosh, so much happened in 3 years, y'all. Anyway, and he's only given 2 hours to change history. And so, of course, he found Gumang in prison, battered and covered in blood and looking like a little wolf that's wounded. And even Gumang was startled to see him. So Moxi was filled with guilt for never having visited him in the past before in reality. And, of course, he went there believing his mission was what Jiang Fuli had said. So he pretended to be his past self and filled with hate, but that did not get past Gumag at all. Jasmine said, I overslept. It's okay. We only got through one chapter and we're literally in the second chapter, which is chapter 191. So it's okay. So then, yeah, so Moxi is pretending to hate Gumang. He's like, yeah, you're filthy, wretched little thing, you. And Gumang is like, okay. So anyway, instead of asking for rescue, instead of asking him to destroy the box or anything like that, Gumang shocks him by requesting he strip out one of his souls and forge it into a key to reinforce the soul box. That was the complete opposite of what Moxi was expecting. And he revealed that he knew that Moxi would come from the future. And he explained that history would not be able to be changed at all, that he had already known that he would die because when he merged with the demon blood beast, he was able to see his future. And he saw all of that play out already. So the reversal stone hadn't sent Moxi back to alter fate, but rather to complete what should have been done by him in the first place. The stone of destiny, as it said, brings no harm to the world and cannot rewrite the past without consequence. Gumang was like, that's foolish. Without any change, without any consequence, that's impossible. So, of course, this shatters Moxi. And he's like, did you not take me into consideration? Is literally no one taking me into consideration? Like, why are y'all doing this to me? And I hurt for Moxi so bad in that moment. And it was crazy because I was in a chat and some people were saying that, Gumang needed to apologize to Moxi. Number one, he did apologize earlier and he apologized within these chapters. But for me, it was like this moment that happened was not designed by Gumang. He merged with the demon blood beast and saw how he was going to die. So there was nothing to be done about it. And even Gumang himself said, I wish the gods had chosen, like, I wish fate had chosen someone else as well. So it wasn't necessarily that he was trying to get Moxi to do this because he just hates him so much or something. It was because he'd already seen the future and he knew that Moxi was the only one who would actually do it. So, it's sometimes I just look at people and like, what are you saying? I will defend my Gumanguga to the ends of the earth, okay? Envy says, I kind of had a suspicion back then. What if back then Morsi's memory was practically erased or something? But then again, I wasn't sure how to think of all that. Yeah. I mean, we never know, right? So this truth shattered him, because he had thought it was the Liao kingdom that ripped out Gumong's souls, but realized that it was his own doing. And he broke down in tears, but didn't have a choice because fate chose him precisely for this task. So he had to obey it. But before their parting, Gumong shared the visions that he'd seen, though he wasn't sure if one of them was real. And that was the one, like he was like, the war was won, and then the two of us, we found each other, and I said, let's go home. And in that vision, we never parted again. And y'all heard what I said. I was like, let's go home. That could be in death, So I was like, I don't trust this crap. That's when I thought all hope is lost, and the only way for them to be together is in death, which I was prepared to accept. And it would have been a tragic ending, but at the same time, still sweet. And I was going to be okay with it. So then we move to chapter 192, in which it was agonizing for Morsi to have to tear Gumong's soul from his body, and there was so much freaking blood, okay? Jasmine says, man, there are just some things that are out of one's hands. Exactly. There are just some things that you just can't avoid them, And so he was devastated after having to do that. And in that moment, Gumong realized that he had given everything, his life, his body, his soul, for the people. But he had left Morsi with nothing but suffering. And he apologized. But, of course, Morsi refused to accept it. He told Gumong that, you didn't have a choice, and that Morsi had chosen his path because he understood Gumong's wishes. And so that's true love right there, because Morsi, it hurt him, but at the same time, he understood Gumong as a person. And this is why I say, hi, Utma Utma. This is why I say, in many ways, I felt like for Gumong, the people were definitely more important than Morsi. And I'm not even saying there's a problem with that, because at the end, like, as much as we like to say, oh, you should have this undying love for the person that you're with, and you should be willing to do everything and sacrifice everything for them, and they're the most important person in the world. In truth, I believe that that is unhealthy when it comes to relationships. The most important person in the world should always be yourself. And I don't mean that from a narcissistic point of view or being selfish, but I mean your life is most important. Your goals and your dreams are most important. And the thing is, you're supposed to find someone who is able to align with what it is that you are wanting to do. Whether it's through the good times, the trying times, the devastatingly bloody times, but they have their own goals and visions that they want to pursue, and you have yours. And somehow both of you are able to work together, and you guys become important to each other, so that's just my personal perspective. So I really appreciated Morsi here, because he was like, this is the path that I chose. I chose to endure all of this, and it hurts. Sometimes I might be upset, like, did you guys consider me? But I understand what you wanted to do. So anyway, um, Gumang also lets us know, well, he lets Morsi know, that the Gorsher and the Emperor had tried to kill him many times before, but they had failed because he had merged with the demon blood beast. So, that is what it is. And they laid together and they were just talking quietly. Morsi tried to comfort him, telling him that his 70,000 soldiers did get their proper burials. And Gumang asked whether he ever hurt Morsi after losing his memories. So Morsi basically told him, like, even without your memories, you had always believed me. You had always believed that I was a good person. So you didn't hurt me with your loss of memories. Then he reached into his pocket and took out a small love token. The brocade pouch in which the reversal stone came in is the same one that he had questioned Gumong about several times before, not knowing its origin. Now realizing, I've been jealous of my freaking self. It's always so funny when the men are jealous of themselves, like Yan Wusher. So it's just that was a funny moment, but not haha funny because it was still too devastating. And so then Guman gave him a white cowrie shell inscribed with his name as a token of love. And he took another one and began to write the fire sign, which is Huo, because he couldn't write Morsi's entire name, knowing where he was going. And the phrase here at that moment just said they had tasted too much bitterness and separation. They didn't want others to suffer. That was all. And that's pretty much a complete breakdown of how they felt, their love, their determination, and everything. And before returning to the present, Morsi broke down completely again, weeping and weeping. So that just, then we move. I put chapters 194 and 193 and 94 together. So Morsi returned to the present, but found himself in an in-between realm, still inside the reversal stone. He regained his determination that he would fulfill what Gumang wanted, no matter the cost. And before him stretched like this vast body of water, with Tuntian reflected in its surface and a purple-black smoke curling, around. And within the haze, a figure in white appeared. Turned out it was the god of the stone. So Morsi was pissed, right? And he confronted this deity, basically accusing him of standing idly by through all of the suffering. And the god basically explained to him, like, hey, gods can't save people. They can only light the path and allow mortals to save themselves. Which, honestly, you said it was really a heartbreaking moment. And here came my suspicion back then. The Sherlock Holmes inside me got to work. Yes. And so I honestly really liked that quote: gods cannot save people. They can only light the path and allow mortals to save themselves. And I even think about it from a standpoint of like Christianity. At the end of the day, they say, if you believe in your heart and confess with your mouth that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior, he died and rose, blah, 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 then you are saved. And it's like, still though, the person has to believe that, has to say that. The person, the people have to read the Bible. All the religions out there, the people have to read the books, the works that they are getting their religion from, and they have to follow those things in order to save themselves. It's not just like, I am a god, you are saved, just, I don't know, by default. So anyway, to prepare Morsi for his mission, the god reveals two truths about his past. Princess Mengze. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Princess Mengze had not removed the demonic poison from Morsi's body. It was Gumang. Gumang had secretly lured Morsi to Dongting Lake, pretending to stab and, try to kill him while actually extracting the poison. He coordinated with the princess to keep it a secret, knowing that she would accept the deception and that Morsi would come to hate him, thereby earning, her protection. So Gumang already knew, like, he and the princess, they were right here with each other, right? It's like, we're gonna keep this a secret. You take the credit, and I know that you are going to protect him. So I think that is something very important to remember, because I know in the comments there were several people who were like, I'm suspicious of the princess and yada yada, and absolutely be suspicious of the princess, I suppose. She did get by me because I was so focused on Jiang Fuli. Nevertheless, this plan was planned out, at least this portion of it. So her spiritual core, of course, had never been damaged. She had been feigning her weakness this entire time. And this is where I had a problem though. It was the princess who had secretly instructed Zhou He to erase Gumang's memories in the Asura room to ensure he never revealed the truth. She tried multiple times to corrode Gumang's sanity, manipulating him so that Morsi could never learn the truth. And for me, this is where I had a problem, because it was like, I'm not even sure Gumang would waste the time to say who did what. He had already said that, okay, we're going to keep this a secret because Morsi needs to hate me. By the time they get back in all of that crap, it's not even important. So it was just kind of, to me, it was like, you did this for absolutely no reason. And knowing the kind of person that Moshi is, if he knew that you and Gumang came to an agreement that you would be the one who did it, do you think that after he found out the truth that suddenly he would just despise you or something like that? Like, he understands. And at the end of the day, aside from that one thing, like, I would be a little peeved if I found out the truth. But throughout all those years, she had been nothing but kind to him. Their interactions were fine. So it's like, what did you think would happen? That he would hate you? So then you had to go through all of this stuff to cause Gumang pain. So that was the thing that I absolutely hated about the princess. But, whatever. So, let's see, the what plot twist that revelation was. It absolutely was, yes. The fact that there is now a spirit of God of stone, that scene got my hopes up. Yes. I refused to get my hopes up because I was like, I'm going to get my hopes up and then everything is just going to not come to fruition. That's why I was like, as soon as Jiang Fuli mentioned Muzhong Chuyi, I was like, okay, Meat Bun's just being evil because I know he's not coming back. There is no way that Gumang and Muzhong Chuyi are coming back. Like, I knew Gumang would come back, I knew that he and Morsi would be together. However, they ended up together. But to say anything about Muzhong Chuyi, I was just like, come here, Meat Bun. like, I can't pop my neck. Oh, I did it. But I was like, let me. So anyway, the god went on to say that, she had orchestrated the assassination attempt concerning Muzhong Lian, and that she was the black clothed figure who told Gumang about the vow of calamity. And that when she spoke of this mystery man who could summon souls, to summon Gumang's souls, that it was really just going to be her in disguise so that she could corrupt Gumang's mind. So everything that she did was toward Gumang specifically, never toward the nation, which is something that is very, very important. He said, when I catch you, Meat Bun, when I catch you. That's entirely why Meat Bun is Meat Bun. Yes. I was like, Meat Bun, you are so cruel. Ugh. So even after learning all this stuff, the god adds that she is the most fit to rule, that she possessed both capability and wisdom necessary for leadership. He was like, she'd be better than you, better than Gumang, better than Muzhong Chan, better than Muzhong Lian. Like, she is the one, my guy. These qualities she has are vital, more vital than goodness. And so the god asks, like, hey, are you going to seek revenge on Muzhong Mengze? And Morsi was not saying anything. And the guy was like, take your time. You ain't got to tell me. That's fine. You can make your decision once we come out of this in-between state. So next, the god revealed the truth about Tuntian, that it was the spirit-blessed beast created to counter the demon blood beast. So my theory from way before was just completely wrong. In fact, Gumang was not the spirit-blessed beast. If anything, he was connected to the demon blood beast. So I was completely off with that. But at least I was right in the fact that he was connected to a blood beast, a beast, right? I'm trying to find rightness in my wrongness. Anyway, he was the beast of the altar, okay? He is a sacrificial lamb. We've gotten that. So the cultivators of old had believed that this spirit-blessed beast had failed because it refused to yield to anyone. But in reality, all of those people had simply failed its test. Only Morsi's father, Mo Qingchi, I believe, was worthy. It only listened to him, and it had shown him visions of the future. So his father already foresaw his own death. And he sealed the spirit pearl, which is like the core of Twentian, inside of Morsi, which is why Morsi's spiritual power was so freaking unmatched, strong enough to level cities. This meant that Morsi was the only person alive capable of destroying the demon blood beast completely. So the god, again, gave him two choices. Take revenge on Princess Mengze, ascend to power yourself, and preserve Chonghua while the other 9 provinces are destroyed, which I thought was funny because it said that he could preserve Chonghua. So clearly Morsi would be a good leader, just not the best. Aside from Princess Mengze. Or defeat the demon blood beast, save everyone, but you die in the process, and your soul is excluded from reincarnation. So hearing this, Morsi is neither shocked nor devastated. The god made it clear that he was not going to force Morsi, that Morsi got to choose. So that was that. Let me check for comments. I think I was just so low and reaching for the rope to heaven. So soon, Morsi was pulled back officially into the present, and he could hear Jiang Fuli fighting Huo An. And as he prepared to act, Morsi reflected on two ways of thinking that people held the world, which is, my life is insignificant. Why should I sacrifice for others? And even if my life is insignificant, if I can make a positive difference, large or small, it is worth it. And he knew that Gumang, Muzhong Chuyi, and his father had chosen the latter, so he would do the same. Which we all knew that. Meanwhile, the battle kept going between Jiang Fuli and Hua Puan, and seeing her husband weakening, Su Yuzhou pleaded with Hua Puan, telling him the truth. It was like, it was never Jiang Fuli that betrayed you, it was me, and I did this and that. I stripped him of his memories and everything. And Jiang Fuli was like, don't talk to this man. And he spoke the words that Hua An most feared. He was like, my hatred for you is carved into my bones. That's why I remember you. In this life, I am sick to death of you. I take back the name Hua An. Chentang bears no bond to that name. I ain't gonna lie, that was a powerful moment, because it's just crazy to see people who have so much great power like Wapoan, and they are so frightened and scared of the smallest, simplest things, which, don't get me wrong, this was significant, but it was his greatest fear. And he heard those words and he was like, would you really push me to this point? Why would you say that? At the same time, Morsi was fulfilling his mission to destroy the demon blood beast. So Kwapawan, dismissed it at first because he was like, there's no way that he's going to sacrifice himself after everything y'all have done to his lover, but Mosi did. And Huapuan could not understand that. And in that distraction, when Mosi was shattering the beast's heart, Jiang Fuli struck and defeated Huapuan. Then the dust settles, right? Mosi stood upon the water and saw before him the Gumang of 10 years ago. So Mosi awoke on a small boat drifting along the Huang River. And this river soul, this was the soul river of the underworld. So Gumang was there, telling him that everything was over now. And though Gumang could reincarnate, again, let's remember that Mosi could not. Neither of them I'll say Morsi did not want to dwell on this sadness, so he did not tell Gumang about this. Gumang confessed to him that he was always willing to stay by Morsi's side and love him because he could always see Morsi's kindness. So they just exchanged some quiet confessions that they always loved each other, that they had always only wanted each other. Beautiful moment, right? But we know they're on the Huang River, or Huanghe, which is the yellow river, the river to the underworld. And like through the thick mist of the river, they began to hear voices. And it was the distant singing of the 70,000 fallen soldiers. It was the farewell song of the army that they were singing. And the souls of the dead were reappearing, basically of those that were most cherished in their lives, granting them one last glimpse before reincarnation. And they held each other tightly, their grief and their tenderness just all into one bundle. And I kid y'all not, that scene was so emotional for me because I'm sorry. It was just such a beautiful moment, but also really, really sad. Man. Anyway, in the fog, still, Morsi suddenly saw another familiar figure, and it was his father. And his father's expression was like really calm and peaceful, but also twinged with a little bit of worry. And he could not see Morsi, but only was like gazing in his direction, almost as if sensing his presence. And soon, he was like, I can't take care of you any longer. Anyway, the two of them reached the end of the Yellow Springs Road, and this was the final destination of their lives. Um, you said to be TBAO. I'm assuming you mean TBH, because honest, unfortunately, starts with an H. It should be honest then. But yes, to be honest, I would be happy with a tragic ending. The boat scene was so touching. Yes, I was prepared for a tragic ending. I was prepared for them to be together in the afterlife until the god of the reversal stone said that he couldn't reincarnate. Then I was like, well, what the heck then? I was like, wait, they're supposed to be together in the afterlife if they can't live together. So, yes, I was expecting a tragic ending, but like in a sweet way. And yes, the boat scene, it was so touching. I was crying so hard. It was just it was too much for me. The letters from Paradoxiton says, one third, I'm a lurker who failed in my mission to speed read books 5 through 7 in one night. You would have to put it on 2 times the speed. Or if you're on my Patreon and you listen on Spotify, you can actually go past 2 times the speed. Or if you have YouTube Premium, you can go up to 4 times the speed, which is crazy. But I'm not going to lie, there are a couple of times where I've listened to things at 3 times the speed, but it's usually things that I've already listened to before. So anyway, so sadly I can't join, so I've muted for safety. Absolutely, mute for safety. Thank you for coming, though. You said, oh, 2 out of 3 messages. I get it. But I just felt really strongly need to say, I don't think I've ever cried so much to anything fiction before, enough to fill a lake. I say in the midst of still crying. Oh, yes. The scene in the underworld are the best in the YUWU Arha universe. When I think about the Arha underworld, that was pretty epic. I did like that. Um, you said then part 3 out of 3. I'm just so grateful you read this one for us. I hope you all will have a comfy and healing live discussion. You said 4 times the speed. Oh my gosh, yes, it can go that fast. But yes, I had no problem reading this for you guys. I had been patiently waiting for YUWU to come out completely before I ever got to it, and that was even before I had thoughts of making my YouTube channel. So I would say the series that I was the most ever excited about reading in all of my Danmei reading history is YUWU. So yeah, and it effed me up. And it's in my top 5 as well. So let me continue going. So in the fog, they get to the end of the Yellow Springs Road, right? And as they were about to step forward into reincarnation, Gumong at least, a man in white appeared, wearing a bamboo hat, and called out to them, knowing their names and everything. And in his hand, of course, was the reversal stone. And Morsi was like, "It's you?" And Gumong was like, "It's you little liar who lies." Um, so yes, it was him. And he explained that there are actually many stones within the world, and they could, in fact, reverse death, but only if the person passed the test of fate. Because Moshi was selfless and made the choice that he made, the stone would allow him to bring both himself and Gumong, but not Muzhongchi, back to life. So then 1 month later, we have Princess Mengze ordered that the citizens' homes be rebuilt before the royal palace. That already speaks volumes still on her character. I'm not mad at Mengze at all. Anyway, we'll talk about her in a little bit. So her kindness and prioritization of the people earned her great praise, as did Jiang Fuli, who helped defeat the beast. After the battle, Hua Puan, he had fought. Well, I'm sorry, not after the battle. It had mentioned that he had fought with his 9-eyed teen. He used all 8 of some eyes, but not the ninth one. He refused to use that final one. And people were like speculating what that ninth one was. Anyway, Jiang Fuli, who had done everything for money at one point in life, had now finally gotten the urge to do something greater. He really wanted to know what he was like, what he liked, just become his own person, essentially. So he and Sujiro departed together so that they could discover what he really wanted out of life. And I was very happy for them. They got to be together because it could have been the thing where, like, after he found out the entire truth, and because all this time he hasn't had any romantic feelings for her, that he could have just been like, okay, well, thanks for everything you did, May May, but I'm cool on you. But no, they traveled together. So I was like, yay. So then we also have Mu Zhonglian, who was also praised, though his health has deteriorated due to the ephemera, Um, I was I love Mu Zhonglian's story because he had basically we got to see this man become free of his obsession with Gumang and tormenting him and wanting to win and all of that stuff. And it said that he could now summon both the illusions and the music he once hated. So I think Meat Bun is very intentional. And to say that he once hated implies that he no longer hates it, which to me is absolutely beautiful because there are a lot of times when we grow up and there are things that are forced upon us that we have feelings of hatred for, when they're forced upon us. But at some point in life, we take those things and we reclaim them and they become something that we love, that we use for something great. Um, so it was nice to know that he could do that. Also, very nice to know that he could summon the illusions at the same time, because we didn't really hear anything about his illusions throughout this whole thing. It was kind of like just put to the side or whatever. But to see him having it, I was just like, yay, yay, Mujong Lian. And so he decided he didn't want to, because he was technically the acting emperor, but he wanted to travel north to Linyi to establish an academy where all students, regardless of birth, could learn freely. So again, although he was technically the acting emperor, he did not care about politics anymore, and he completely supported Princess Mengze. And she, I mean, he didn't say he supported her, but you knew he did, and she completely supported him for doing what he wanted to do. And I just love Mujong Lian's story so much because I think I said it in my live session. I mean, not my live session, in either my notes or the summary that I did about YUWU. But for me, it's when you live your life one way and you do bad things, it's very important that when you stop doing that bad thing, that you not only stop doing that thing, but do something for the betterment of that specific cause. And so Mujo Lian used to hurt Gumang because he was a slave, because he felt threatened by him, but he was a slave, he was lesser than and everything. And so to see him turn around and create a school where, yes, slaves or anyone who could come there and learn from him and any other of the elders, I just loved that so much. Like, there is nothing more that I love than to see someone who grew up with trauma inflicted on them that made them a certain way, breaking free from those chains. So I think out of everyone's story, Mujong Lian definitely moves me the most, like outside of the romance and stuff like that. His story is the most moving for me. And it is something that I can relate to heavily, even though I wasn't a bad person like Mujong Lian was. If anything, I was more like Jiang Yexue in my younger years. I just stayed that way. I didn't turn evil. But I just loved it so much. And then let me see what y'all are saying. I did think about Shelian when the bamboo hat thing was mentioned, but just like really briefly. Hearing him call Gumang brother was pretty emotional to me. Absolutely. It's nice to learn his story and how he evolved by the end of the story. Yeah. His story is just so moving. A lot of times I don't care about villains or bad guys and why they're bad. I'm just like, nope, they're bad. I don't care. But I cared from the get-go. So anyway, before she left, Mu Zhonglian had told Princess Mengze, when the time comes for you to return to your true self, just do it. The one closest to you, to the throne, is you. And when he said that, at first I was like, what do you mean? Like, reveal what she did? Like, I didn't know what that meant at the moment. I was like, okay, there's a secret that she has, and he's willingly forfeiting the throne. Meanwhile, anyway, the soldiers continued searching for Morsi and Gumang's bodies, especially after discovering a glowing jade scroll. Shuaizhen. Zhou He, because it just kind of this chapter flipped through everyone basically. So Zhou He secretly harbored feelings for the princess, and he arranged to have a meeting with her. But she slipped a red pill into his drink that would end his life within 2 months. And her servant, Yuanyang, who's been faithful to her this whole time, was frightened by this ruthless side of the princess. So, acting on the princess's orders, Yuanyang went to Yue Ting to retrieve the jade scroll that Morsi had left behind. And it was crazy because when the lady was leaving, we heard Princess Mengzi say that, like, in the end, I can't keep you either. So I was like, oh my God, is she going to kill Yuanyang? But then I was like, okay, maybe she's talking about she can't keep you either, referring to Morsi, as in like the image that he upheld. Like she can't keep that. She's going to have to destroy it because she was afraid of what would be inside of the Jade Scroll. So anyway, she held on to this fake Jade Scroll by Muzhong Chun that was filled with fabricated scandals meant to ruin Morsi's reputation. Because she believed that Morsi definitely discovered her schemes and left the scroll to reveal this as a message to everyone else. And consumed by her own guilt, she, I think, was prepared to expose him, but also very hesitant because she realized that out of everyone that she had schemed against, she only felt bad when she thought about Morsi and Gumang, because these two people, they were the most loyal to the country. They were truly good, benevolent, pure-hearted people, and she had ruined things for them in a way, if you will. So she felt guilt, which is good. Guilt is good. Well, I'm sorry, feeling guilt is good. Anyway, Yuanyang returns with the scroll, and she's stunned by what she sees. All it says is, the stain of your guilt can be cleansed with the remainder of your life. My hope is that you do not follow in Muzhong Chun's footsteps. And she read it, read it, and read it, and read it. So yes, he had known everything that she had done, and yet still left her with understanding rather than condemnation. And I think that is very important because had he not, she was ready to reveal his past. And it's one of those things where I think in the end she would not become fully like Muzhong Chun, but sometimes the things that people do slash don't do can lead others to their decisions. So if Morsi had left something else, if he had exposed her, she definitely probably would have released those that scroll with the fabricated things about him. But I do believe that she, like, it would be wrong, but at the end of the day, I know she's not Muzhong Chun. She would want to have that put out there to preserve her reputation so she could be respected as the new ruler to continue to do what it was that she wanted to do. So, I understood that like tug of war that she was having, and like, I need to protect my reputation. If he's about to ruin it, then I need to ruin his. Let's see. Jasmine says, when the scene that Gumang and Morsi are in the same house with him, I thought it was so funny. His brother and his brother's boyfriend crashing his place. Absolutely. We're getting there. Hi, Stacy. He said, I'm just here a little bit. Mengze became such an interesting character to me. Yes, absolutely. Which is why we're going to talk about Prince Mengze, Princess Mengze. So, as the acting emperor, while she's still garnering the trust and favor of the people and the nobles, there are many things that she devoted herself to reforming for the nation. Number one, she posthumously, at least in everyone else's mind, because they all think that, Gumang is dead, honored Gumang and Morsi with the highest titles of heroism. She sought to abolish slavery and open education to all based on their talent. She prohibited harsh governance and removed corrupt officials. She reduced the financial burden on the people, and she ordered that the voices of the common folk be heard. Not to mention earlier, as I said, she had made sure that the people's homes were put back together before her own. So we just need like one more thing because I was like, oh yeah, there were 7 requests that Kumang made to the emperor. And I'm like, there are 6 things that Princess Mengze did and was striving for. Anyway, it was later revealed that Muzhong Mengze was actually the 9th son of the imperial family. Not a woman, but a man whose identity had been concealed through medicine prompted by his mother. His true identity would one day be known, but after all the accomplishments he would have made, it was like it wouldn't matter anymore, basically. Then we move on to Housekeeper Lee, who transformed Shihe Manor into a house of mercy, a refuge for those who had fallen on hard times. And he believed that if Morsi saw this, that he would be happy with it. Which is why I say Li Wei, he is my favorite side character, because Li Wei just gets it. He just gets it. And he's been there for forever because we're not talking about the extras, but in the extra, when they go back in time, Morsi is talking to one of the servants and he says housekeeper Lee or Mr. Lee or whatever. He didn't say Lee Wei, but he said Lee. And I was like, oh, so he's been around for a long time. So anyway, then we move on to Yue Ting, who entrusted Muzhong Chuyi's artificing diagrams to Jiang Fuli, who sealed them beneath the emperor's haitang tree to ensure they would never again be used for evil. All I will say is for those who are like, this is it's a I won't say how, but as far as Arha is concerned and Chu Wanning is concerned, there is a strong link to this. Again, I say Muzhong Chuyi and Chu Wanning are not related, but there is a strong link. That's all I can say without spoiling anything. So anyway, let's move on to the next thing. Even though they both have the same Chu like character in their name, and we know that Muzhong Chuyi, like he's the son of Miss Chu. What was it? Chu Lian, I believe. Again, they're not related though. Nevertheless, then we move on to Muzhong Lian's academy, which is soon to be complete. And it's a place, again, where he wants to emphasize that students are free to pursue their true passions instead of being confined to expectations. Again, breaking the chains, breaking the generational curse, if you will, breaking everything that had been given to him. And so, as for Moisi and Gumang, they were living quietly under false identities, far from the capital, at home with Wu Zhonglian, which I thought was funny because as soon as he ordered one pie, I was like, okay, he's getting himself a pie. But then he was like, make it two. I was like, is he gonna find them? Like, I thought that they would be like on the. I guess I wasn't thinking about the time. I was like, maybe he'll see them at the river or something, and they end up getting the pie. But then when he said make it 3, I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, definitely. Let me see what you guys are saying really quick. Poor Muzhong Lian having to witness lovey-dovey Mangxi. Oh, also, I think it's actually reversed, Si Mong, because the gong goes first. But yes, I feel bad for him, but at the same time, I don't because he needs family. And so does Gumong. And honestly, so does Moshi. They are each other's family. And I think it's beautiful. Stacey says, one big happy family. Hee hee, exactly. Um, yeah, he tried to be like, who's living here? Who's your brother? and and even if you're my brother, you're definitely not my big brother. That fight is always funny. He was like, I was born first. He was like, yeah, but I was conceived first. It was just that I was frozen, you know? He said, all this time I thought I was seeing Chu Wanning through Chu Yi, but in reality, I was seeing Chu Yi through Chu Wanning. I love them both. Yes, that is exactly what that is because YUWU comes first. So yeah, we were seeing Muzhong Chu Yi inside of Chu Wanning, but I won't say how. If you've read it, you've read it. If you hadn't, then maybe one day you'll understand if you think back to YUWU and think about this specific thing. So then, moving to the final chapter, Wangshu Manor becomes the first academy in the realm to accept students regardless of birth or status. And this, again, is the embodied dream and ideal of equality in Muzhong Lian's mind. Which is crazy because Princess Mengze was also thinking about doing this as well, but Muzhong Lian still did it first. So I'm sure he probably felt good about that after, in the future, once the next one came, he was like, haha, mine was here first. So anyway, as the opening day drew nearer and nearer, Mu Zhonglian was being his usual difficult self and being very demanding, temperamental, and dramatic. But beneath the attitude, I would say it was really just genuine effort and care. He also had promised to quit ephemera and only taking 10 puffs a day. And of course, Gumong was there to help him by snatching away the ephemera after real quick after he took his 10th puff. And Morsi was also there to support him by giving him the nasty sweet candy that Jiang Fuli had given that would curb the cravings. So that was also nice to see. Um, do we know how long Mu Zhonglian will live? No, but it doesn't even matter. So it's just nice to see that for the first time in his life, Mu Zhonglian is truly able to take control of his own life. And he has people there to support him in taking control while understanding that basically, I mean, he was addicted to a drug. He's going to need help with that, and he also taking control, having his own academy. He's going to need support with that as well. And the academy was not just a new beginning for the world, but for him. And so on one night before the academy's opening, we have Morsi and Gumang sitting together on the rooftop, gazing at the stars. And Gumang rested his head on Morsi's lap and was like, I'm going to count. And he did until he fell asleep. And this part, I don't know, it was just like a dream deferred finally coming true. And so then a few days later, they receive their new titles. They're all sitting and discussing, like who's going to be who. And so Morsi is named Yaoling Dongjun, which is the god of easterly sun, and Gumang becomes Qingguang Elder, which is named after the pure radiance of the moon. So we have the sun and the moon. Meanwhile, Mosi is upset by the name that Mu Zhonglian has given to Gumang because Qingguang is a variation of Muzhong, and he really wanted Gumang to share a variation of his surname. But there was no variation that sounded quite right, so he lost. And then when Wangshu Manor finally opened, I mean, it was pretty much a glorious day. Like it was bright and hopeful and alive with the kids coming in. And it marked not just like the new era, like I said, for the kingdom, but just like a quiet and peaceful continuation of the lives that had fought so hard throughout the those years of strife and everything. So that concludes the official story. Man, let's see. All this time. Oh, sorry, I read that one already. You said Mengze's situation gives me Ye Wangxi vibes from Arha. Yes, but also no. Yes, I see what you're saying, and I'll just leave it at that. You said Freya. Yeah. Oh, going back to what was said. He goes to Gumang, who's your brother, to Mosi. He like he. Of course, you take my name. He's my brother. Yes, it was absolute. I loved their moments together, and that's why I was so upset about the extras because I would have loved to get more of that. Not even just more of Gumang and Morsi, but more of Gumang and Muzhonglian and Gumang, Muzhonglian and Morsi. And even I would have liked to have gotten some more on the Prince Mengze, and even probably like just one short extra on Jiang Fuli and Su Yuzhou. Like I feel like Meat Bun did miss the mark with this extra that went back into the past, basically saying, "Let's pretend to rewrite YUWU and what could have been." I was like, "We've already dealt so much in the past. I don't want to go back to the past. Like it just give me future." That was what I wanted. That was what I needed. I would rather it just ended where it ended, but that's okay. Um, you said no spoilers allowed. Absolutely not. I don't give spoilers unless people ask for spoilers. But even then, in this case, I'm in a live session, so not everybody would want the spoiler, right? So, the extra should have been that. Extras got me like so out of the good flow the story altogether had. Yeah. I would have loved those extras. I just made myself hear the audio till the end for 3 days. We need more brother banter healing. Exactly. It was it was really hard for me to read the extras. I mean the extra, those 8 chapters. Like I think the first 3 or so, I was like, okay, I mean, this is all right, I suppose. But once they went on their mission, and I have nothing against cross dressing, but it was like once Gumang came dressed as a girl out of nowhere, just like randomly. And that's never something that had happened. I was just like, why are we doing this? Like, why can't he just go as Gumong? But then, of course, that was revealed. And I was like, oh, okay. But still, this mission sucks. This mission is lame. This mission is boring. And I could not read the rest. I was like, I feel like I would be tainting my experience even more. Like, I wish I could undo my read, but I cannot. So it is what it is. um, you said I absolutely loved that scene. Rich kids, Moshi and Muzhonglian being like, what are these kids? While Gumang, who has interacted with lots of servant kids and young soldiers, is like, we'll be fine. I get what Meat Bun tried to do, but it just didn't work the way it should have. Yeah. Also, Gumang teacher scene. Oh, that would have been fun. You are so right. It would have been so fun. Haha, kind of whack. So I'm glad I just skipped it. Yeah. Like I said, after I read that chapter, I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna keep reading this. Then finally I was like, no, I need to make a video letting them know that I'm not going to keep reading this because I don't want to taint anyone else's experience. I don't want to be the one responsible for it, I'll say. So I unlisted the video. So of course, like if the people who have the link, they can still go listen to it, but it's unlisted. I've removed it from the playlists. I removed it from Patreon completely. And if you want to go and read it yourself and taint your experience, or you might love it, then you can do that. But literally, like in the Facebook group that I'm in, when I asked, every single comment either said they were pissed off about the extras, or they skipped it altogether once they saw what it was about, or that they were super sad. So I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going to be responsible. So, you said I read, but it felt like I was reading an entirely different story. Exactly. I was like, if you go back to the beginning of what it could have been, why? Like, we're starting over to something else, and it's just not the same. So, anyway, that is the end of volume 7. So, next, what we are going to talk about. Oh, by the way, you guys, so for all of my teddy bears and all of my instruments, they all have names. I've got way too many teddy bears, by the way. But not really, because you can never have too many teddy bears. So again, this one that I showed you all when we did our celebration, I need a name for it. Like I've been thinking and I'm just having a hard time. So I would love to see some names in the chat. And then either I'll just pick my favorite, or if I can't decide, then we'll do a vote. And I want you guys to name my little kitty. So, yes, it's a kitty with an alligator um, costume on. Very, very cute. So, help me name this. But anyway, in the meantime, Wu Ming, no name, is going to join me in the next portion of this live session. He said, I still can't with the cuteness of this kitty. Yes, it's so cute. I should have bought the other one too, because there was a pink one that was dressed in a different monster suit. It was so cute. So, the next portion that we are talking about, which is a little brief, is we're talking specifically about Jiang Fuli and Hua An and their names and the importance of their names. Because if there's one thing that I have learned, names in Danmei are very important. I mean, I believe names in real life are also very important because a lot of times they do reflect a person, whether people believe in spiritual stuff or not. It's crazy when you learn a person's name, you find that it's very fitting for their personality. So, Jiang Fuli, just to go over his name again, Jiang is first tone, Jiang. It means ginger, but it's also just a common surname. Then Fu means to brush away, to sweep off, or to cleanse. And Li is dark, black, multitude, but it's also poetically used to mean like the common people. Let's see, from all C dramas I watched and books I read, names have always meant something. Yeah, they always mean something significant. And so basically, we have to brush away, sweep off, cleanse, darkness, black, multitude, common people. So going to this Li for meaning dark or black in a literary sense, but also the common people, I would say that his full name evokes brushing away the darkness, which is deeply symbolic given his origins. He was remade from Chantang by Sujiro after the horrific curse and trauma inflicted on him by Hua Poan. And even though well, his life begins before this, but from his memories, his life begins in violation and tragedy. He fulfills his name by cleansing and endless suffering. So I would say it's Sujiro who helps to cleanse away that darkness and everything, but still, and then in the end, he personally, moves the thing from his eye. He wants to find out the truth. And he reclaims all of those horrible memories, his identity and everything. And I would say that it was helpful for him to learn the truth. And in the end, he was able to defeat the darkness, which was Hua Poan. And so he was able to brush away the darkness that inflicted trauma and suffering upon not only him, but also others, the common folk. You said an author never names their characters randomly. Yeah, exactly. Jazz, you did not just you did just not do what I think you did there. And then she goes, 吓死你. Is that what you're saying I should name it? Not 吓死你. 吓死你. Okay, that's one. So then, when we move to Hua Puan, Hua means flower, beauty. Obviously, this, traditionally represents life and growth and delicate beauty. And, hearing flower, you just think vibrant, tender, alive, lovely. Then we have Po, which is part of Da Po, which means to break, to shatter, to destroy. So obviously, you think of destruction, upheaval, or disruption. This could also just be breaking, even something bad, whatever. But it implies that something is changing by force. And then we have An, which is a part of darkness, symbolizing, well, it could be ignorance, it could be evil, it could be whatever it is. But the irony and narrative significance of this, I thought about for a minute, and I was like, Chat GPT, help me write this out together so it makes sense. Huapoan's name is deeply ironic because where a flower would normally represent life and hope, Huapoan seems to be the exact opposite. He's death and devastation. He is the source of a source of destruction, and he literally shatters like everything around him. But not in a benevolent way at all. There is nothing that he shatters that we benefit from or the people benefit from. Like, he knew about the darkness of his family history and he was trying to shatter that, but he became darkness himself. You know, he chose, instead of healing and restoration, he chose chaos and pain and obsession, and attempting to impose control and recreate the world according to his own vengeance, not really for the good of the people or anything like that. And then, so again, the irony, while hold on. I said all of that. Yes. So again, a flower evoking life, growth, and beauty. I would say Huapoan was supposed to be the flower that breaks darkness, because Jiang Fuli's name has darkness in it. I would say that he fulfilled his name because he broke Jiang Fuli. Jiang Fuli was a person who was living his best life, maybe, as Shentang's cousin, one of his cousins or whatever, living his life normally. But Huapoan took him, input Shentang's memories inside of him, and shattered him, sexually violated him, put a curse on him, taking away his memories and everything, severing all emotional ties to the world. And of course, this leading to all the things that Su Zhizhou did. So in a way, Huapoan, the flower breaking darkness, definitely indeed broke darkness. The darkness was Jiang Fuli. And I would say darkness, again, like I said, it could refer to also ignorance, because Jiang Fuli eventually became ignorant of his own life. So there was that. But again, in the end, Jiang Fuli recovered his memories, which allowed him to confront and reconcile with his past, if you will. Well, some of it, I won't quote his past. His past, as in Shentang's memories, his past, as in the violation he received from Huapoan. So that is that that I wanted to mention about names. And then the next name I wanted to talk to you all about, which it hurts anytime to mention this man, but I want to talk about Muzhong Chuyi's name. So first we have Mu, which is to yearn for, to admire, or to long for. Zhong, which is to hold, to contain, to endure. Then together, when you put Mu Zhong together, you have like a surname that evokes a person who carries yearning yet holds those emotions with grace and restraint, because Zhong can also mean grace. So it fits his character very well, because he was defined by, like, in the end, he was defined by that longing, that quiet endurance and unspoken devotion to Yue Chunqing, and trying to preserve his nephew slash half brother's life. And then we have Chu Yi. Chu is clear, clarity, purity, but it can also mean pain and bitterness. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because pain can also bring clarity, which we've discovered in Peerless, when there are certain moments when, like, Sui Buchu is feeling pain, but it sharpens his mind, it says. Anyway, Yi is clothing, or, just what a person wears. So I would say that Chu Yi, given this name, it suggests a person that is cloaked in sorrow, cloaked in pain and bitterness, but also clarity of self, clarity of mission. This is someone who is paired with suffering, who wears the grief of knowing the truth of things, but keeps it all hidden inside. So Muzhong Chuyi definitely fit his name. And again, that's Mu, fourth tone, Zhong, second tone, and then Chu, third tone, Yi, first tone. So Muzhong Chu Yi, if you want to say the tones. He said, "Do not, oh my heart, cue the tears. Okay, back to the corner I go. Let me join." I'm sorry, because I am going to drag you guys into the corner again. But we're done with Muzhong Chi for now. But let's go to Princess Mengze. Prince Mengze. Thank you. Thank you, Tuntian. That was really good. I could feel it in my chest. It's all nice and cold. And thank you, Jasmine. Jasmine, you be taking care of of making sure I drink. Thank you. So, why I just titled this section "Why Prince Mengze Exists in a Different Moral Category and is Not the True Antagonist." Nothing deep. I think we all understand. But I would say that for those of you who haven't watched my not so generic summary on why you should read YUWU, I encourage you to, because, well, I put a lot of work into it. But also, I think it is a very good summary to convince anyone to read it, as long as they're okay for hurt and pain. But anyway, so Prince Mengze falls into the realm of morally gray. That's what I'm going to say. Not truly wicked. Like, there were people who were very suspicious of Princess Mengze, Prince Mengze. And then when they found out, they were like, haha, I knew it. There was something wrong with Prince Mengze. Yes, he schemed, he manipulated, and he even harmed Gumong, which is a big no-no because we are on the protect Gumong at all costs team. And those choices did have devastating consequences. But unlike the Emperor Muzhong Chun, unlike Jiang Yeshui, unlike Hua Puan, his actions are not driven by ego, obsession, or personal vendetta. He specifically has loyalty to Chonghua itself and wants to see it thrive, even if it's at the cost of other individuals. So this makes him dangerous, but not irredeemable. That is what I will say. He's no problem, Jie. You know, you just assume I'm Jie. What if I'm Mei Mei? So, where the other people act to satisfy something broken or ravenous in themselves, we have Prince Mengze, who is acting out of strategy, duty, and national ambition. So, of course, that doesn't excuse the things that were done to Gumong. That doesn't excuse the attempted assassination of, Muzhong, Lian, and just all of that. But it does reframe him in a way. He's a chess player, a person who forgot in some ways that those pieces were human. And I'm specifically speaking about Mosi and Gumong because, he did later reflect that, oh, yeah, these chess pieces were two humans that were very loyal. So I would say that Prince Mengze is a visionary, a tragic visionary, if you will, but not a monster. And that's why he cannot truly sit beside the story's core antagonists, Hua Puan, Muzhong Chun. He you can condemn his methods without despising his heart. That's how I'll put it. And even Morsi understood this, which is why his final message was like, hey, your redemption is in how you rule. So rule right, okay? um, so yes, as I said, Prince Mengze had the potential to become a tyrant just like the others, but he didn't, which makes him much better. Now, one thing I will say, which I won't elaborate on much more because I said it in my notes earlier, is that the blind spot of the Prince Mengze, I keep wanting to say princess, the blind spot of Prince Mengze was that he over schemed. And that is with regard to everything that did happen with Gumong and obviously indirectly Mosi. That was an area in which I feel like because he was so used to scheming against everyone else in the capital, as far as Muzhong Chun and Muzhong Lian and any other things that he had to do, that he schemed against people he did not have to. He did not have to do what he did to Gumang at all. And I personally believe that Morsi would have still stood by his side had he found out the truth. Anyway, let's see. So basically, where he fits in the biggest theme, the one detail that clearly separates Mengze from all the other villains is that you cannot redeem the emperor's cruelty to his own land, to his own people. You cannot redeem Jiang Yeshue's jealousy and isolation of Muzhong Chuyi, and in the end, killing his entire family, essentially. And then you just cannot redeem Huapuan's hatred at all, and the violation of Shantang and everything. Need I say anything more? But you can redeem Mengzi through governance. So, the one quote that I wanted to bring out from chapter 180 from Prince Mengze was that I only do things that are worthy of myself and worthy of Chonghua. And that to me speaks a lot about Prince Mengze. So, I do want to give a quick shout out though to, I'm sorry if I say you guys' names wrong if you ever watch this video, but shout out to Anupuadian and Sally Longhurst 4414 for pegging Prince Mengze in volume 4. I spent a lot of time discussing things in the chat with them without giving away spoilers because they were commenting in volume 4 about their suspicions. And I spoke from my frame of mind from when I was reading volume 4. So shout out to y'all for pegging Prince Mengze because I sure didn't at all. But again, one of the things I did say was that I felt like Meat Bun was possibly distracting me with Jiang Fuli. With Jiang Yeshue. And there was somebody else that I was missing. And it turned out to be that was actually the case. So it's like I knew that I was missing something. I just didn't know with who. That's the funny part. You said, right, my mistake may lead to Mei Mei. Thank you. I will take the compliment. Mu Zhonglian was on the fence for me for a while. No, I didn't know that he would have such a redeeming arc, but I didn't think that he was behind anything serious. I didn't like Mu Zhonglian much at the beginning. I don't think anyone did. And that's why I hated the fact that he was so hot. Because I was like, can we not have hot characters be bad guys? But I do not like Muzhong. I do not like Muzhong Chun, although I do think he was a very good-looking emperor. And I do not like Huapuan, even though he's giving crazed Yan Wushi vibes. You said his evolvement throughout the whole story changed my mind bit by bit. Yes. So now to move on to other fun things, which is you said I ended up really liking him a lot. Yes, I like Mu Zhonglian a lot. He's my most took me by surprise character, I would say, for just how his whole story changed. Obviously, Muzhong Mengze would be my most took me by surprise character for like curveball. But anyway, I want to move on to my favorite character. But we have Anne says, I didn't trust Emperor since day one. So for me, the Emperor had me in a tight spot because at one point I did not trust the Emperor. I did not like the Emperor because of how he spoke to Gumong. But then I started to get like a little bit of respect for him. I think in one of the videos I was like, I'm okay with this Emperor. Like I never said I like him, but I was like, I'm okay with this Emperor. But I still had suspicions because I was like, okay, I don't like this carrot stick method you're using with Gumong. Like, I feel like if you're sincere, then you just give the carrot, and that's it. So there were some things that I was just like, I don't know, but I still thought that maybe in the end, sorry, you guys, that the Emperor would be okay. I did not expect the Emperor to be big villain number one. Like, I was like, dang, man. Um, 1 second, you guys. It's been acting up lately. So yeah, that was unfortunate. I feel like the Emperor carrot stick to me as well. But I guess I'm like Gumong. I don't know. I wanted to believe the best in the Emperor. Not that I completely trusted him, but I wanted to believe the best in the Emperor. So that's on me. Anyway, let's move to my favorite character, my favorite main character, my least favorite main character, my favorite sub main character, favorite side character. So, starting with main character, I want all of you guys to tell me who your favorite main character is. So, obviously, the main characters are Gumong and Morsi. Let me know which one's your favorite, and you can even put why if you like. But I think it's pretty clear for me that Gumangaga is my favorite. Okay. Because beneath the layer of, his lies and secrecy and martyrdom, I was able to see so much of myself in him, and particularly in his upbringing, his natural inclinations to care for others, and just that quiet sense of responsibility that he carries. Like, he's not a perfect character, but his complexity and the way he carries the weight of others makes him incredibly relatable and compelling. And how could I not love Gumang? I have to love Gumang. I mean, I think that Moshi is a great character, absolutely. But Gumang is my favorite main character. So I have Anne saying, Gumang is my favorite because I feel like I can relate to him somehow. Stacy, Team Gumang. He was always my guy. Yes, absolutely. It's like it doesn't get better than Gumang. I love Gumang so much. But yeah, your love for him only grew. Yeah, even with the things that he did that he could have done better or differently, or trusted Morsi to choose him, it's like he's still my favorite. He's a relatable person. He's a human being, you know. And Meatbun does such a great job in reflecting the imperfections of human beings, but also having people who understand that we are imperfect and choosing to love anyway. Jasmine says Morsi has such a firm grip on his beliefs. He absolutely does. And I love that about him. Like, he's not able to be swayed to and fro. You know, he has his belief and he stands firm in it. Love that. So now moving on to my least favorite character. I just want one of y'all to put it in the comments who my least favorite character is, because I want to see if y'all know. Because I think it's obvious who my least favorite character is. I'll give y'all a second. You said also childlike antics are so cute and heartwarming. Yes. Emperor for the win. You think the Emperor is my least favorite character? Okay. Let's see what anyone else says. The Emperor really got under my skin right away. I knew there would be problems with him because of how the vow of calamity was introduced right away in the story. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Like, obviously, if that vow was there, something was going to happen to where that vow would need to be tested. So my least favorite character is actually not the Emperor. My least favorite character is the one that I was suspicious of since day one. It is Jiang Yeshe. From the very beginning, this man rubbed me the wrong way. And his inability to break free from his mother's indoctrination and his stubbornness in letting her teachings define him as he went on in life made him very frustrating for me. Because, like we see Muzhong Lian, who started off good, turned into a rotten egg as a child, grew up, broke free from those chains. Where here we have someone who started off good and then allowed his heart to harden and become filthy and ugly as time went on. And he inflicted pain immediately. Once he got the demonic tea inside of him, the first person he inflicted it on was supposed to be the person that he loves, that he has a crush on, whatever. I absolutely despised his character because he knew that he was insane, or he knew that he was bad, and he did not care, because in his mind it was like, well, there are worse people, you know. And for I think the thing that also really upset me was him not realizing just how disgusting his mind was when it came to things concerning Muzhong Chuyi, because he goes on one hand to say like, oh, I don't care about rape, I just want to reduce him to his knees and make him beg for me. Meanwhile, it would be if he told Muzhong Chuyi told anyone about the curse on him, then it would activate that for him to do that. So in my mind's eye, that is still a form of violation. And I'm like, you are a sick human being that you would rather like basically turn Muzhong Chuyi into a puppet if he were to ever betray the agreement that you guys came upon, you know. So he is absolutely my least favorite character in this entire thing. Not to mention, his desire to ruin everything in Gumong's life is completely uncalled for. Just because he ruined your plans unknowingly, but it's not like he hurt you. All he did was see that something was wrong with Yue Chengqing and took him to Shannon Terrace to get healed. And because of that moment, you decided that you want to destroy his entire life while pretending to still be his good friend. You know, I even remember in volume 2, he was like, you know, we fought side by side. I could never hate you. Meanwhile, you tried to destroy the man's whole life. Okay. He is the absolute worst, Stacy. Yes. You said had to step out for a second and missed a lot. Oh, you know what? I guess I should have like opted for us to have a short little break. Should I start doing that from now on? Like after maybe an hour or an hour and a half, take like a 5-minute break? Is that something you guys would like? Just let me know. You said, won't speak his name, Mr. Hot Masker Villain. I won't do it. Is that your least favorite character? So Anne's is the Emperor. Um, you said I was trying to remember his name. Whose name are you trying to remember? The emperor's name is Mu Zhongchen. Then Jiang Yexue is my least favorite character, and then Hua Poan is the Guosher, or the ruler. Let's see, Jiang Yexue is the worst. He is my least favorite character too, because he sucks. Jiang Yexue, yeah, he's hateful to the bone. I don't even feel sympathy. No. And that was crazy because like hearing his story, I was like, oh, that's so sucky. That's sad. But I still do not like you. I despise you. Like there was no sympathy for him in any regard. I don't mind. My pets misbehaved. Okay. Um, so now we are moving on to favorite sub main character. So, sub main characters, for those who may not know that term, when you think about like movies and TV shows, these are basically important characters in a plot. They're not necessarily the main character, but they're almost there. So, sub main characters would be, in my opinion, the Emperor, Mu Zhonglian. Mm, who else? Uh, Actually, I would say that's pretty much Muzhong Chuyi. So yeah, sub main characters: Muzhong Chuyi, Jiang Yexue, the Emperor, and who else did I say? Yue Chengqing could also be a sub main character. Yeah, yeah, that's what I would say. So you said I feel a bit of sympathy for Huapuan, even. Really? You do? I don't. Okay, so Jasmine's favorite sub main character is Chuyi. Yeah. My favorite, while you guys put yours, do not kill me. Let me get my alligator kitty for protection. My favorite sub main character. Oh, Lanar, nice. So Lanar would be a side character. The My favorite sub main character is the Emperor. My favorite sub main character is Mu Chun. Oh man. So let's see. Freya says Emperor is my favorite. Oh, good. Yes. Okay. So I'm not alone. Is my favorite because of how complicated his character is. I changed my opinion on him many times during the books. I mean, I think he's an awful human being, but a great character. Yeah. So the Emperor is my favorite character. Yes, because of the fight that he had me going through in my mind on his character. And it was just really like a love hate relationship with him. Obviously, like Freya said, he's an awful human being. As a character, he is masterfully written, though. He is a true villain whose schemes, ruthlessness, and manipulation create like this high stakes and tension throughout the story. Do I like him? Well, honestly, there are some aspects about him I did like. But no, I don't like him overall. But I loved his character in terms of narrative, impact, and complexity. And just, I love a good villain. I love a great villain. To me, the story, if we're not dealing a slice of life, right? The villain has to be exceptional in order for the story to really just, you know? So yeah, he's my favorite sub main character. Um, oh, as far as sympathy for Huapuan, you said, I mean, what would happen if they treated Huapuan before everything happened? Mm. Lujan Singh, secondary. Oh, if they had treated him a little better. Yeah, what would have happened? I don't know. I mean, but at the end of the day, people treat us bad, and it's totally up to us to decide what we do with that. Stacy says initially it was Chuyi, but Mu Zhonglian stole my heart in the end. He just makes me laugh with his snarkiness. Ha 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 ha. Stacy, Emperor is a great and complex character, and Chuyi is my favorite side character, but kind of shares place with Mu Zhonglian. Yeah, if I have to give it to someone else other than um the Emperor, it would be Mu Zhonglian. I almost chose him, but I love a good villain. So I chose the Emperor for my favorite sub main character. Now, my favorite side character. These are definitely going to be the ones who you may or may not remember the names, but they are not necessarily crucial to the story. So that would be people like Li Wei, Lanar. His name is Chang Feng Jun, so we know his name. Li Qingqian, Su Yuzhou. I mean, she played an important part, but she was a side character. Jiang Fuli. Um, yeah, these are all side characters. So anyway, my favorite side character, housekeeper Li Wei. I think we all agree on that, at least to some degree. He just stood out as like this quietly smart and wise side character. And he had unwavering dedication to Moisi, which I felt was absolutely necessary. And even his insights into his master was very important. And just his ability to provide support without overshadowing those around him, to me, made him very admirable. Like, he delegated things properly. When people were questioning Mosi, he very respectfully but very firmly was like, get it together. It's Mosi. Mosi has a reason for everything. We do not question our Lord because our Lord knows what he's doing, right? But he's just, to me, a reminder that just like heroism can be subtle and it could just be through loyalty. Like, he's not necessarily a hero, but at the end of the day, I kind of see him as one because of what he does in the end, and even because of how he treated Gumong while he was there. He didn't hurt Gumong or anything like that. So leeway. And leeway for pure comic relief. Leeway. Lanar was a great character. Yeah, I wish we could have gotten more on Lanar. I was kind of let down when we didn't. Perhaps the most pitiful after Gumong. Yes. Absolutely. Oh, yes. After Gumong, I would say that Lanar is the most pitiful because she was just a child and she was turned into a puppet. Her spiritual core was taken from her. But even before that, she was bullied and ridiculed and called a monster for having exceptional talent, essentially, but not knowing how to handle it just yet. And then in the end, what happened to her? You know, it's just like, so now she's left with nothing and she's still probably going to be outcast afterward. So, yeah, I feel for her. Um, you see, I love his part in the ending. Morsi would be proud of the household. Yeah, I felt like if Morsi were to just disguise himself and come see, he would be very proud of Liwei. I hoped for a glimpse on how she ended up. Yeah, and we didn't get that. So now we have gone through my favorite slash least favorite. We're going to go through my favorite comments from you guys from each volume. So we're going to start in order. We're going to go in order. So starting with volume 1, there was a comment from someone named It's Sue 3767, and they said, "I made it to book 3, went back to reread, and your narration somehow made it worse. I forgot how bad book 1 was. Gumong here feels like a defenseless puppy everyone tramples on." This comment just made me laugh because as I was reading it, I was like, but then I kept reading. I was like, my narration made it worse, but they meant that in a good way. So that was one of my favorite comments from volume 1. My second, well, they're not in any order, but the next favorite comment is from the modern human 9783. It says, this is so tragic. It's so heartbreaking. I had to take long breaks in between the chapters to calm myself down. I severely underestimated the angst in this novel. I just thought it spoke very clearly to all of us, definitely, right? And then my last one is from Ritu, and it's crap. This was a screenshot on my phone. I'm glad I put that note here. Oh, so I actually remember what it was. Their comment was extremely long, so I will not be sharing the whole thing. Instead, giving you a summary of what it said. But basically, Ritu was explaining that one of the reasons that she preferred the relationship of Simang as compared to Wanjan, which Arha to YUWU, basically, why she preferred YUWU to Arha was that with YUWU, we were given characters who had mutual attraction to each other, and it was clear, that they liked each other, that they had a relationship with each other, but they were torn apart by circumstance. Whereas in Arha, without spoiling anything, obviously we know that the two main characters are going to be in love with each other. You have two characters who are pining for each other, but neither character knows, and they both display these, things in forms of one from hatred based on misunderstandings, and the other from like very strict discipline and everything. It looks like they don't like each other. And we don't get that until things go on further in the story. And I just really appreciated that comment because of that breakdown. I was like, yeah. And YUWU, these characters clearly like each other. They have the hots for each other. They had sex with each other. They all liked each other for real, for real. There was no question about whether or not they liked each other. It was just that many circumstances and trials and tribulations is what caused them to go through their stuff. So then moving on to volume 2, comment by Stacy. It says, "Now this is the subject content I was looking for. Gumong is my guy. The more I learn, the more I love him. He really did everything he could to look after and take care of Morsi. Even now, he still has a caring heart. He doesn't want to see him hurting, and he thinks he is good." So again, that goes back to that comment that, when Morsi told him, like, no, you've always thought I was good. I just really like that comment. That was pretty much it for volume 2, mostly. Volume 3, I have one from NFS, or Never Finished Story. And it says, I think Gumang is so busy recalibrating all the events which happened and information he got while he was Wolfgaga. Still, he is so into his ex, it's ridiculous. Both didn't see each other as real people back in the past, but that is normal. They were young. You're less honest with yourself, let alone with others. Very true statement. When you're younger, you're definitely putting on somewhat of a facade and trying to make yourself like Gumang always appeared as this guy who could just bounce back, that everything was okay. But in fact, everything was not okay. So then moving to volume 4, I have a comment from the Black Rose Red Blood. Morsi being angry jelly in the smut parts, asking who Gumang is thinking about. It's you. Stop tormenting our little cinnamon bun. Gosh. So I really liked that one. You said clearly my opinion didn't change. I basically said the same thing here. LOL. Rubies. Simong is such a great couple. They became one of my favorites. I wasn't counting on it when I started book 1. Yes. Actually, speaking of rubies, my next favorite comment in volume 4 actually comes from Rubies. It says, yeah, finally, Leeway, get us some credit. I think he's my favorite character in the series. It's so funny how they consider Princess Mengze as the first wife and Gumang as the concubine. So Leeway tries to contact Mengze to save Gumang. That was another one of my favorites from volume 4 because shout out to Leeway. And also just pointing out that scene. I remember that scene. It was very funny. So, yes, that was from you, Rubies. Moving to volume 5, another one actually, both of these are from Never Finished Story. So, the first one says, it was the pipe which broke that jar before it hit Gumang at the banquet brawl. Hashtag never forget. And this is when we were all questioning Mu Zhonglian's motives in regards to Gumang and whether or not he was trying to protect him or not. I was like, you're right. It was him that threw the pipe that broke the jar before it could hit Gumang. Yes, and that was in volume 2. So great. And then the next one was Eyes Gumang's pouch. What's in the box? So that was also a favorite one. Then we have volume 6. There was only one comment, and this was actually from Freewin, which I believe it's Freya on YouTube. But Freya said, I'd even take things not getting worse at this point. Oh, how they got worse. Freya. If that was so relatable, it was like, yes. Right? It was a good catch. I was like, yes, I would just take things not getting worse. Like, the ending doesn't have to be a happy ending. Just don't let it get worse. I think we all felt that way, only for it to get worse. That was the only comment that was my favorite in volume 6. So then for volume 7, I have one from Ritu, which said, just started to listen. What in the name of Arha is happening here? I felt like this was very appropriate because in volume 7, for me personally, in Arha is when I began to become devastated. And so I just thought it was funny that in this volume 7 is when, I felt devastation before, but this is when I really thought that there was no hope. But I was just like, yeah, all hope is lost. So that I loved that one. Then one more from Molly Mendel 6122, which I believe you are also on my Patreon. But it says, readers, immersed in the current plot. Meat Bun breaks through the door. Plot twist! Readers, face slap. Not again. I just thought that one was really funny because I was like, yeah, I was really engrossed in the plot, really feeling it. And then Meat Bun was like, and by the way, so those are all my favorite comments. Now, there is one final part of this live session that we are going to do. And I think it's going to work out well because I tested it on another video a live video that was unlisted so I could just do it. So if it doesn't work today, I'm suing YouTube. We have 2 songs that we are going to listen to, and then we are going to discuss them. I am going to break these songs down to you and why I believe that they are fitting for specific characters or whatever. So I hope you guys are ready. By the way, I did not intentionally look for these songs. The first song we're going to listen to is one I just happened to come across, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. I was obsessed with the song. I listened to it over and over and over again. And then finally one day, I was like, this just gives me vibes of fitting YUWU. Let me look up the lyrics and see what it means, only to see it fit. Then the second song I actually came by because of the artist that sings the previous song. His name is Huo Zun. And I was like, I really love his voice. Let me see if he has anything else out so I can listen to it. Well, I was listening to one of his albums and I loved it so much. And then this was soon after Mu Zhongchuyi passed away. And I heard this one song and I was like, this just makes me think of Mu Zhongchuyi. Turns out I looked up the lyrics and it very much makes me think of Mu Zhongchuyi. So these were accidental finds. Nevertheless, we are about to listen. So I'm going to start playing. Well, I'm going to share my screen. I realized that if I keep the browser in the same thing, like multiple tabs, it won't let you guys see or hear. But if I disconnect it, then everything and put it on its own, you should be able to. So first, I'm going to share my screen. Also share tab audio. Yes, share. Okay, so I can see that it's showing on the screen. We are going to start playing it now, which means I'm going to shut up.
粉墨，你唱我和，听蝉每侧，眼睛卿我，故事短短一折，却是真的。抹掉粉墨，露出你我，似墨，那不是角色。粉墨，如粉如墨，听缠绵悱恻。眼睛卿我，泪水为你流了，都是
Oh my god, this song, I genuinely adore this song so much. And says so beautiful and yet sad. So yes, we are about to uncover the lyrics of this song. And I'm just gonna go ahead and share my screen with you all so that you can look at this with me. So sharing my screen again. So now you all can see my notes. So to me, this song fits Si Mang's love story. Again, this is called Fen Mo by Huo Zun. So the verse, first off, did I have a section where I just, okay. So the verse is as lovely as a blooming beauty, as fleeting as flowing years. If love leaves no debts between us, that alone surpasses all the world's riches. Upon the red stage carpet, before the peony pavilion, in this dusty world, how many can share the same dream, the same bed, and the same grave? So, only looking at the verse just for a second, which it's just so beautiful. I honestly think this is probably one of the most beautiful songs I've heard before. But so, how the verse reflects YUWU, how it reflects Moshi and Gumong. So first we have the beautiful flowers. Beautiful. I'm sorry. Let me go back to the lines. We have as lovely as blooming beauty, as fleeting as flowing years. For me, I think the verse has some like ephemeral purity or temporary purity of Gumong and Moshi's youth, where they had like their puppy love phase or training days, if you will, and just like their kindness and goodness to each other, their dreams and the things that they wanted to pursue. With Moshi, it was wanting to give everything Gumong he could ever want. With Gumong, it was making sure there was equality for people of his kind. All of that was destroyed by time, by war, betrayal, circumstance, lies, and secrecy. And so it was like the flower that bloomed briefly had died. And then going on, it was like they spent, when it said, if, there could be no debt between us, that would surpass all the world's riches. It was like, I think this was one of the most painful truths of YUWU because Gumong and Moshi spend the whole series basically paying emotional debts and physical debts that I would say, depending on what was done, they never meant to like inflict those or to incur those. And so there's a lot of guilt, resentment, sacrifice, anger, and atonement that's done throughout this whole story. And what they originally wanted was a love without owing, without imbalance. And I mean a love without owing like to each other, a love without imbalance as in like the people just love each other, regardless of if you are a slave or you are royalty or whatever, but just having goodness in the land. And just a world without, I hurt you, now you have to forgive me. and you hurt me, now I have to forgive you. But they they had a love story that they shouldn't have had, if you will. And so, but they were forced into the fate that was given to them. And so, of course, to have this world where they could live without debts, finally in the end, that was something that surpassed everything in the world. Like, they didn't return back to Chonghua. They didn't choose to become generals again. It was like, let us live in peace with each other, in happiness as family. We don't owe each other anything more. We have given everything. We have sacrificed everything to everyone and now to ourselves. And we owe ourselves. So to have this life, to choose each other, even when it has hurt, very moving. And then, of course, the line, just so you all are aware, the line where it says, upon the red stage carpet before the peony pavilion, in the dusty world, how many can share the same dream, the same bed, and the same grave? I want you all to know that the Peony Pavilion, this actually it says it refers to the Ming Dynasty love opera, where there were lovers that were bound by dreams, longing, and tragedy that like defies fate or whatever. So just like in YUWU, it's asking like, if this love is real, is the world really going to deny us of it? Like, how many of us can truly be with someone, share everything, even death together, which they did get to do, oddly enough. But they went on through tragic separation and even finally got their reunion. I won't say it was against fate that they reunite, but it seemed like they were fighting fate, and so um, of course, they shared a bed, they shared scars and all of that stuff. But in the end, after all of that, they were able to share everything. And I think it does pose a good question. How many people are able to do that? To share true weal and woe with each other? Because we do live in a world where, unfortunately, there are people who get into relationships, or I'll even say people who get married. They sign these contracts with each other. And then, literally a year or two later, they want to leave each other after some weal and woe. Now, don't get me wrong, some people shouldn't have gotten married in the first place. And so, yeah, they maybe need to divorce. But to see how much they went through in their story, yet in the end, they still chose each other is something so beautiful. And so, this verse, it's like beautiful but doomed is the feeling you get initially. Yearned for but delayed. Simple in desire but impossible in reality, it feels. And bigger than duty but crushed by duty as well. So it's like something that hopes to leave no scars but instead becomes completely made of scars, you know. And Yuwu is fundamentally a story of lovers who lost their years to war, lost their innocence to duty, and lost each other to fate, but kept choosing the same dream anyway. So, whenever I hear this song, I just get so into it. I was trying so hard not to sing so that my voice wasn't like coming over the thing, but I love this song so freaking much. So then when we get to the chorus means paint and powder hide you and me. This is makeup, right? Fen Mo. Um, our entanglement belongs only to our roles. Paint and powder. You sing, I echo. We perform tender, sorrowful love. I'm sorry, I meant to share my screen with you. Act out of romance and longing. The tale lasts just one scene, but it is real. So, Fen Mo, again, like I said, that is the makeup in Jujuniwa. So when it comes to the chorus, I'm going back to my notes. So the chorus is basically saying they're actors. The characters in YUWU must wear masks. They're hiding for survival, hiding for loyalty, hiding for reputation or national duty. Like even in the beginning, I remember where it was like everyone expects Mosi to hate Gumong. And he was like, I do hate him because everyone says I should hate him, so I hate him. But there are these complicated feelings that I'm hiding because I don't want to have them. I only want to hate. I don't want to still love this man, and even just like in the Bat Cave when they were together and, Gumang was like, I'll pretend you're someone else. And it was like Morsi put on a mask after that. And it was like, okay, we're just going to have sex. It's not going to mean anything, even though it meant everything. So they're hiding everything. And it's just like their love is, of course, is concealed beneath misunderstanding, politics, and war. And as that line I said, "Juja ni wa," that's hiding you and me. So their true selves are buried beneath their assigned roles. We have general and traitor, not lovers and equals. And then the next line, hold on, let me make sure I quote it correctly. Uh, sorry, I should have put this all together. Funmois, Nichanwo. Okay, yes, yes, yes. So then the next part, I gotta go back to my notes. I've moved it. Yes, our closeness belongs to roles, not the real us. Just breaking down, I guess, the lyric itself. Let me go ahead and I guess give you the Chinese, but that's still in the chorus. 是我却属于角色. So I believe in that part. I'm going back to the chorus. One second. Oh yeah. Yeah. 是我却属于角色. Yes. Okay. So that line, our closeness belongs to our roles, not the real us. I think that pretty much speaks for itself. I don't need to elaborate on that very much, but their interactions with each other are forced by their duty and position. You know, master versus like captive, I guess, when he took hold of Gumong, soldier versus enemy. So they were physically close with one another, but not in emotion, not in heart, but literally just proximity because they had to play their roles. Then the next line, "你唱我和," you speak, I'll follow, or I'll echo, basically. So the tragedy, I will say, is choreographed by circumstance. You know, Gumang sacrifices, Mosi reacts. Gumang falls, Mosi follows. You know, Gumang sacrifices his life to, defeat the demon blood beast. Mosi sacrifices his life to defeat the demon blood beast. So it's like everything was scripted out for them because this was a fate that they could not avoid. And then the next part, performing intimacy, love is a facade. Again, need I say more? They had to pretend not to care for each other, and pretend to hate each other in certain circumstances, especially earlier in the series. So that was, man, pretty awful. And then the end of the chorus where it says, actually, let me just use my phone. This will make life. Why didn't I think to use my phone in the first place? Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, yeah. When it says, why did this move out the way? 故事短短, 译者却是真的. So 故事 is story, 短短 is short. So it's saying even though it's a short act, a short story, the feelings, 译者却是真的, those were real. So all this whole time they're putting on this act, but even in that, there are brief moments from the past, and even every now and then when something would bleed throughout the series, these tender moments of softness, those were real. Like for instance, when they were in the cave fighting Li Qingtian, and Mosi was on Gumang to remove the curse or whatever it was that Li Qingtian put on him, he was like, endure, and he was like, it's going to be okay. When he held him, it was like a moment of softness, that was pure. It was brief, it was short, but it was so real and it was so genuine. And so, man, the chorus is just like, they act out roles they never want to. There are lies that are spoken to hide the truths that are in their hearts. They hurt each other, one more so than the other sometimes, because duty demanded it essentially, but they also loved each other even when the world forbade it. So just like actors on the stage, they're trapped by the story that is written for them, but underneath, Everything's real. So then we get to the bridge, which let me scroll back up to it. And this time I will share my screen again. But beautiful song almost burst into tears. Oh, the chorus hurts so much when thinking Gumong and Morsi. Yeah, it hits hard. Let me share my screen, share it for the chorus. But so the bridge is when you hear all of those voices. She yo yo no dun dun ba da da dun 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 bum ba da 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 da. That's the bridge. So we have not me about to read the Chinese for you all, but it means who wandered the garden only to stumble into whose dream? In the depths of the dream, you rest on my arm. The vast world fades into illusion from past lives to this one. How many lovers are destined yet doomed? Who shares both soul and flesh with me? Ha! So, yes, Shay Yo Yuan Ya, Wu Rula Shay the Monk. I To me, this one is beautiful, the bridge, because that first line, who stepped into whose dream? When we think about it, we know actually who stepped into whose dream. It was Gumong who stepped into Morsi's life. You know, um, that moment where I think it was Morsi who was being attacked by wolves, and it was Gumong who, unlike everyone else, actually went to go save him. But anyway, it's just kind of like from then on, both of them were stepping into each other's dream, and their goal was never to hurt each other. They just stepped into each other's worlds. Morsi stepped into Gumong's nightmares, and Gumong stepped into Morsi's ideals for life. And they were both kind of wandering. And it's like from dream versus reality, we have the dream of who they were and who they wanted to be versus the nightmare of what they were forced into to become. So in some ways, their love could feel like a memory, just a dream in the past, but very brutal in the present, which it was, until literally the very end, where finally the dream became reality. Um, and then we have another line, really quick. I'm going to say it, but 三千世界形同虚设. Basically, the world becomes meaningless. So I think that's pretty clear. When Morsi thinks that Gumong is dead, and when Gumong returns broken, even, um, the world became meaningless. It was just kind of like, okay, well, my Gumangaga is gone. So if I have to sacrifice my life in the end, then we're going to go ahead and do that. But also thinking about even once they both were reversed back to life by the reversal stone, I would say the world still became meaningless to them. So even in the devastation, the world was meaningless. And even in happiness, the world was meaningless because, again, they did not return to what they were at before. They didn't care about what happened in the world. They were in their own little bubble, and they got to be in that bubble. But another line that was within the lyrics, just kind of like separating some things. Xiang sheng xiang ke. That is lovers who save and destroy one another, mutual destruction. I think that pretty much goes without me having to elaborate on that. Anyway, but yeah, so then I want to talk to you guys about the final chorus. It's the chorus, which is the same, but it is different. And here is why it is different. The first time the chorus comes around, it's Fen Mo, Juju Ni Wo, which is paint and powder, hide you in me. In the last chorus, it's 磨到粉末，露出你我, which is wipe away the makeup. Wipe away the makeup. Reveal you and me. We linger. No longer playing roles. Paint and powder, mad with love. Listen to the tender sorrow entwined. We act out love upon the stage, and every tear we shed is true. Not only that, but in this chorus, the bridge is going. So while the singer is singing "Mo Diao Fen Mo," the people that were singing in the bridge, which was probably just him, are singing "She yo yuan 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 ya da 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 da" at the same time. And so it's like, yes, who wandered into this garden? Who stumbled into this dream? You're resting on my arm. The world is vast and it fades into illusion from past lives to this one. So it's like the bridge is reaffirming the newness of this chorus. They did remove the makeup. There was no longer any need for them to hide from each other. They revealed themselves to one another, especially in volume 6 and 7, when they had those conversations with each other. And now they get to linger, not playing their roles anymore, but just to be mad with love. Yes, to just to be together. So the other thing I want to say, which let me share my screen really quickly one more time. Even though the bridge is playing again, it's not exactly the same. So the bridge elaborates more. So while they're singing, of course, wipe away the makeup. Who roams, who yearns, standing by the quiet pavilion? Reveal you and me. Who parts, who grieves, all left to broken wells and ruin. And honestly, in Revelation, this is what was revealed, the grief, everything that broke them and turned them into ruins. But it was all of this that brought them together, right? We linger, our hearts entwined by the plum tree, sorrow rising unbidden. So it's kind of like we are remembering everything that we endured, right? Sometimes we may remember it, but our hearts are still entwined with one another. I'm going to stop sharing. And so it's just, I'm sorry, y'all. This this just be getting me so much. So just they were finally able to be together. And even the part where it says, mad with love and everything, it's like to people on the outside, their love could actually look like madness. That's why people ridiculed Morsi once they found out about the relationship between him and Gumong. It's like, ugh, how could he be in love with someone like that? He's a traitor. He's this, he's that. But it was like, no, he was not mad with love. His love was very much directed in the right area. Okay. Directed to the right place. And so it was something very pure that had been, twisted by fate. But they finally got to a place where they did not have to do that anymore. And then the part about every tear was real. Hold on, let me look at the lyrics. 清唱免费刺眼，听听我泪水. Yeah. So basically, every tear that was shed was real. Which, when we go back to the first chorus, it was saying, sorry, scrolling up to that chorus, it said, the tale lasts just one scene, but it was real. So their feelings, when they showed true, were momentarily, like they were temporary, but they were real. Whereas here now, it's like, no, all of those moments, the moments that we cried, the moments that we wailed, those tears that they brought forth, those were also very much real. So emotionally, this chorus in one sentence, when it's reframed, it's like strip away duty, war, betrayal, memory, names, all of that. What remains between us and is real. And it always has been, even when we had to pretend that it wasn't. So this is why this song hurts in such a YUWU way, is that love was always there. It never stopped. It only got buried. Two people were forced to play roles until they forgot themselves in some ways, and a reunion required removing every mask in order for them to have that final truth that survived the humiliation, the ruin, and the time and devastation. It's such an amazing emotional payoff, hearing the beginning all the way to the end. And the reason I didn't elaborate on verse 2, if you're wondering, is because it's the same verse that's repeated, just so you all know, which a lot of Chinese songs do that. And I actually really appreciate it, how the verses pretty much stay the same a lot of times. Not all the time, but a lot of times. So the last thing I wanted to mention in this song before we move to the next one is the musical symbolism in the final chorus, which to me is peak. So in the last chorus, the singer sings again, "莫掉粉末, 不住你我." But when he sings "是我", you actually hear the harmony, which I'm trying to remember it. More. And for me, unlike earlier in the song when the chorus was sung alone, to me this mirrors the story because initially it's Mosi or Gumong, and their relationship is fragmented, full of secrecy and all that stuff. And right, so they're on opposite ends, right? And it's like they're singing these songs by themselves, and it's a solo representing that isolation and every burden that they carry alone. Meanwhile, when they finally get to the chorus of "remove the makeup, 抹掉粉末", it's like they're coming together. And that's where that harmony comes in. And the harmony's not there every single time, but to me, it's like there are two people and you hear them singing and then they merge into one when the voice is by itself again. But again, you have the bridge just like echoing everything in the background. And so it's, I think it's very beautiful. That was just something that I noticed because I'm a big music person. But even then, like I said, with the bridge playing in the background, it added that layer in musical terms of connecting all the sections, just representing the underlying emotional continuity, all the memories and the pain being present right in your face. But it was all worth it for this final ending, reinforcing that love story that they had. So that is pretty much it on that song. I'm going to see if there are any more comments. But it's a very beautiful song. Again, it's called Fen Mo, by Huo Zun. Lovely. And I'll put it, like I said, the link is actually in the description, so I don't need to put it anywhere. Beautiful song. Let's see. The chorus hurts so much when thinking about Gumong and Mosi. I read that one. Yeah, it just hits hard. Ugh. Even when Mosi thought the dreaming and finding out that no, this is reality. Yes. So that is that song. I hope you all enjoyed the song. It's so beautiful. And maybe I should have saved it for last because we're going to the last song. Yeah. This song is called Idun. At least I think it's called Idun. It's actually spelled in English, not in Mandarin characters, even though the rest of the album is Idun, and it is still by Huo Zun. So I'm gonna share this one now. I am not ready. Okay. Here we go.
绽放的消失了，停在荼蘼。离开的干涸了，苹果落地。越久了，越朦了，越是清晰。不可及，不可遇，不可失去。Where to go? and say for you.第一年天已阔，飞鸟无迹，梦就梦，空就空，伫立到底。越久了，越想起，还有呼吸，还可及，还可遇，还未失去。For you, 21, 18, 31, and say 9, 3, 7, for you, 6, 7, and say
Okay. So that is the tribute to Mujong Chuyi. Uh, and it was crazy because when I first heard this song, I was like, "Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful!" And then with Mujong Chuyi's death, once my brain correlated it to that, I could not undo it. And so now every time I hear this song, I get extremely sad. And again, this was one of those moments where I did not know the lyrics to the song, but I just felt, I was like, this is how I feel about Mujong Chuyi's death and his story. So I'm gonna share the lyrics with you guys, which I did not find out what Idun means, which should probably have done that. But just a really quick look, because that's the name of the song. Its meaning here says ever young. Okay. It also can mean to love again or the rejuvenating one. To love and to love again. Anyway, I'm going to share my screen with you guys so that we can get through this song and the lyrics. Okay, same singer as I said before. So, 绽放了的消失了 The things that once bloomed have now faded away. 停在土里离开的 They stop at the final bloom of spring and then depart. 干涸了, all has dried up. 苹果落地越久了, the longer the fallen apple lies on the ground, 越梦了, the deeper into dreaming it falls. 越是清晰不可及, the clearer it becomes, yet still untouchable. 不可遇,不可失去, unmeetable, and too precious to lose. And the chorus is in English. Where to go, I say. Of course, he does the hey, 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 whoa. Then where to go, I say, waiting in the silence for you, and say it, for you, and say it. Then the second verse, 地已裂,天已空, the earth has fractured, the sky has emptied. Then 飞鸟无迹, 梦只有梦, birds leave no traces, and dreams remain only dreams. One second. Then 空就空, space or emptiness is simply emptiness. 伫立到的越久了, the longer I stand here, unmoving, 越想起, the more I remember. 还有呼吸,还有可及, there is still breath, still close enough to reach. 还可遇,还可遇, 还未失去, still meetable, not yet lost. And again, where to go, I say, waiting in the silence for you, and say it, for you, say it. So this song evokes the quiet, aching kind of love in 3 parallel threads of YUWU's tragedy that I'm going to speak about. We have love that blooms, withers, and dies, but never truly disappears. So first and foremost, I'm sorry, let me read your comment really quick. I literally tried not to break down just now. I'm so sorry to you. I'm sorry, you guys. I probably should have reversed the order of the songs. But I had found this one later, and then my brain didn't even think to switch them. So we'll have to find a way to perk ourselves back up before the end. But for Muzhong Chuyi, love and devotion bloom, but are cut short. But I will say, even in death, to me, he's remaining in the silence because, he came out to see Yue Chengqing and then faded away. But I'd like to think that he's still waiting and reaching for a dream that's already gone in his final moments with Yue Chengqing. Everything has always been clear to him, who he loved, what he wished for, who he wanted to protect. But this clarity offers no comfort at all when he can no longer return, when he sacrifices his life. He becomes an echo and is forever paused in that moment of yearning to protect the one that he loves, knowing that he successfully did it, but nothing else, he can't protect him any longer. And so for Yue Chengqing, I would say that he is also waiting in the silence, and that silence continues in the world of the living. When he goes home, his entire family is shattered. He's lost his father. He's lost his uncle, brother, and even his brother, half brother that he grew to eventually love after having believed him to be awful. And he lost all of his servants, everyone, everything. After this betrayal, he lost the main person that he knew for sure would always protect him. And he cherished him so much. And he has to carry Muzhong Chuyi's legacy alone. Like when he even gets home and is outside of Muzhong Chuyi's area and he's just crying and he's like, I miss you. And then he goes in there when the doors unlock and he's able to see everything that Muzhong Chuyi left and to see the person that he really was. So, like I said, his world was cracked, but he remembers and he holds on. Like he clutched those papers. I don't even have the volume in front of me, but he was clutching those papers and holding on as if he was like breathing for both of them. Um, but that legacy now is his. And even in the sixth volume, I think, or the seventh one, I don't remember, when he was making things, he was like, the sixth volume, these don't stand up to yours, uncle. But look, like, can you see what it is that I'm doing? Like, I'm living out your dream of the things that you wanted to do. Um, I'm sorry. So yeah, um, it's just, very beautiful. And then there's another one that I still want to mention because I said three. So there's Muzhong Chuyi to Yue Chengqing, but there's also, in a quieter, more distant echo, waiting in the silence, was Gumong, for a cousin that he never got to meet, at least in his knowledge and in his Gumong Guga state of mind, for a family that should have been his, for a connection that was stolen from him before it even began. And his silence is different because it's not coming from memory, but an empty space that never got to be filled in. Um, and so he doesn't carry a face, a voice, a name, anything. He just only had the knowledge that there was someone who should have been there that he was so excited to meet that never showed up, that could not ever show up. So, like I said, there are three kinds of waiting. Um, there's the dead who wait with memory, Muzhong Shuyi, in my opinion. Then there's the living who waits with grief, Yue Chengqing. And then, I mean, Gumag is also living, but I'm going to say the orphaned, um, who waits with absence. So three silences, three forms of love, um, all rooted in something that bloomed or could have bloomed beautifully, but fell far too soon. So that is a song that I give in tribute to Muzhong Chuyi, which I feel is his due respect. Um, Absolutely necessary. Um, that is a major character death that I think in all the Danmei that I've read is probably the hardest, um, the hardest character death for me. Yeah, that is the hardest one for me. Um, so, and then again, the meaning of Idun, at least from what I've seen, this is from the Norse goddess. Of course, it may mean something else in another language. I don't know the language this is coming from, but it's to love and to love again, the rejuvenating one. Um, so, you know, I guess it depends on culture. Like, let me see. I'm interested. Um, Let me see if I can find it. No. Yeah, because I just don't know which one it would be. Anyway, I don't want to make guesses on that. So there's that. Freya says that scene was so sad. That's all that he has left of Mujong Chuyi. Yeah. Um, I I remember wanting, since he passed away, I wanted Gumang and Yue Chengqing to find out that they were family, so that hopefully both of them could know that they had family, but that's not how things turned out. So when I think about it, I'm thinking about it now actually. I feel really bad for Ye Chengqing because he still has nobody. Because, Morsi and Gumang went off to have their happily ever after, which I think is absolutely necessary. But Ye Chengqing still has nobody. That's really, really sad. I feel very, very overwhelmingly sad for him. Um, yeah, okay. So that is all we have of Yuwu. And as I said in my not so generic summary on why to read Yuwu, the biggest takeaways for me was that love is redemption, not reward, and that when it comes to your loved ones, you should share the burden because there will always be someone who can bring you out of your tragedy, your trauma, whatever it may be. The other thing was that parental curses um, can be broken or they can consume you. And the other takeaway for me was that memory, identity, and the fragment itself, they all play a higher purpose in defining a person. Um, and yeah. And then the last one, which again, you could just go listen to the video, but morality in Yuwu is not black and white. It's definitely human. And there are so many different types of morality or humanity that we get, from people who are pure hearted but hurt others out of hurt, those who are pure hearted but accidentally hurt people because they don't know any other way to do anything, people who justify their atrocities with cynicism, those who blame their choices on circumstance. Um, a man who is shaped by abuse but chooses to rewrite his story, and even a man who committed harm for what he believed to be the greater good. So, those were the biggest takeaways for me for Yuwu. And if I had to place Yuwu anywhere, I'm trying to pull up my list as I'm talking. Out of all the Danmei that I have read, mm, here it is. I should actually I ranked Yuwu as my second favorite Danmei series that I've ever read. Is it one that I would constantly read? No. It's my favorite hurt. But I also think it was so masterfully written. And the way that Meat Bun was able to capture the human heart and the complexities of it, including just the detail in how one's life and things that are nurtured into them can really shape a person, and then also just showing grace for characters in their folly or in their growth. Um, Meat Bun does an exceptional job. So, yes, Thousand Autumns is still my favorite. Yuwu is my second favorite because it's just so good. You know, it's really, really good. So let's see. I have um Meat Bun was cruel to him. If you're talking about Yue Ting, then I absolutely agree. Um, like there's still a part of me that's like, dang, I still want for Gumong and Yue Ting to know that they are related, maternally. Well, not maternally, whatever, however they're related. um, I wish they could have gotten that, you know, but that's okay, I guess. When I catch you, meat bun again. When I catch you. Freya says, now that I took an accidental nap, I remembered about the ending. I don't think it would have been satisfying if Mosi had managed to turn back time and all would have been well. Absolutely. It wouldn't have been. So when I thought about him going back in time, I honestly thought that thing like the war would still be there. I just didn't know how it would be. But I was like, there's no way that everything would be solved because even without the demon blood beast, Huapuan still had his ambitions and his goals. So things would have still come to a head, but just in a different way. And maybe he just wouldn't have had as much power. But absolutely, I wouldn't have liked if everything was just, oh, strike that, reverse it, you know. Um, it would have felt like the suffering was for nothing. Yeah, it would have definitely felt like it was in vain. Like, what did we suffer for if that's all he had to do? I'm sorry, excuse me? No, thank you. Um, you said valid. My heart wishes for unreality. He needed a happy moment after losing everyone from his life. Yeah. So now I'm like, I need someone to write a YUWU fanfic that I can read where Yue Chengqing, I don't know, maybe he goes on a trip or something and runs into them. And it's like, oh, you guys are alive. And then it's finally revealed, like, you guys are related. I just need that. Can someone write that for me? Or if it's already written, please let me know so I can go read it. Because I need Yue Chengqing to have his family. I need him to. Like, it is paramount, meat bun. You said, I slept 5 hours last night and the stream started as soon as I got off from work. Body decided it's nap time. Absolutely. That's why I was like, whoa, you're here? Like, how? So thank you for coming. Thank you for taking a nap because you need to take care of yourself. And thank you for coming back on after you woke up from your nap. You were like, oh, live. I also slept for 5 hours. Was it 5? Yes, it was 5. You said same, was working and got home in the morning, then slept to be rested, but I overslept. Oh, I think a fan fiction of Gumong teacher, that would be nice. Yeah. I can think of doing that for real. But yeah, you guys, that is man. Now I'm just kind of like, where do we go from here? Like, I don't want to end the live like this. Oh my gosh. Let me look up something really quick. Okay. So the only nope. Okay, no. Okay. I need redemption, lol. We got to figure out how to do things because I know now what song I will put on repeat. Which song? I've personally had Fen Mo on repeat. It's in my Chinese playlist and I constantly listen to it because I'm like, this song is so pretty. Anyway, something that I did not show you guys because I didn't realize it myself, but I happened to notice when I was on TikTok and someone was opening their Peerless Volume 5. I don't know how I missed this. So, picture spoiler. I am putting that out there. What it spoils, it doesn't really spoil anything plot wise, but it definitely the second one. Oh man. Yeah, I do listen to it a lot. It makes me sad, but I listen to it. Yeah. It doesn't spoil the plot, but it's going to spoil the look. So I'm putting that out there. If you don't want to see it, then don't look. So Peerless Volume 5, I had posted the video where I showed this lovely baby. But what I did not show, because I didn't see, even after I showed this, what I did not show was what was on the next page. So you are being given time to look away if you do not want to see. I'm flipping it now. I'm so sorry your book got delayed. Bung Xiao's hair is gone. So the question is, why did you have to get rid of your hair in order to? What happened? Did you have to get rid of your hair in order to save Tsubuchi? Our peacock has lost his feathers. I was like, oh boy. Bald Feng Shao supremacy. Very unexpected. I was like, oh. As soon as I saw that video, I was like, hold on. Let me go and look back at my thing. And so I looked at it. But there is a picture in here with him and with his shaved head, and I'm not gonna lie, he still looks great. He looks fantastic, fan freaking tastic. So yeah, yes, that's Feng Xiao, featherless peacock. New nickname by yours truly, Cui Buchu. I'm sure he's definitely gonna have a nickname for him. So I just wanted to show that to y'all because I was like, oh my God. But yeah, anyway, for those of you who are on Patreon, we do have a live reading tomorrow. So that's exciting. Same time, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Um, and I'm trying to remember how many chapters we were reading. We're not going to read too many. So it might be like a shorter live than usual, just because I exhausted myself with YUWU. And I also sped through volume 6 and 7 because I needed to read. And so I'm trying to stay committed to like the rhythm that I had, which was taking 2 weeks to read each book, or 8 recordings essentially. So he is handsome. I feel he was there. LOL. He is handsome. Um But so the read along is going to be a little bit shorter than in the past, I think, maybe, who knows. But the point is, I'm trying to pace myself because I am still a bit emotionally exhausted. Like preparing for this live session, I was like, help me. So, yeah, you guys let me know how you feel about you. Is this in your top 5, top 10, or not in your top at all? Do you think you would ever re-listen to it? I know for sure I will, but probably a century from now. Like a century. You said top 5 for you, Cookielicious? Nice. Yeah, it's really sometimes I feel like the more and more I read, the harder it is to rank Danmei, because there are some it's like it depends on the day and it depends on what I'm looking for, because you know, like I want to put Arha in my top 5 as well, but it ended up being number 6. Top 5 for sure. My emotional roller coaster ride. We return to standard time tomorrow. I need to make sure I'll be online at the right time. Yes. And I guess I won't pre-schedule. I'll just come on. What I'll probably start doing is coming on like 15 minutes in advance and then just having a poster that says we'll be starting shortly. At least until, I don't know, maybe at one point I can get someone to make a video for me that just plays in a loop until the live gets started. That way I don't have these problems oh with YouTube, because I don't know what to do. Anyway. um but pre-scheduling them seems to not be working out, so I'm not going to. You said I got first part of YUWU. I think I want to read it. Okay. It would take time for me to reread, but I would definitely go through it again. I need a notification tomorrow for sure. Yes. No, you guys are going to get notified. It's just that I won't have the link given to you. So what's going to be the case is it's just going to be 30 minutes beforehand. I'll send out a message saying the live will be starting soon. And then once I create the live session, I'm going to copy and paste that information 15 minutes in advance so you have the link. Then you can click on the link and just go ahead and join. I need to remember to drink coffee right after work to make sure to make it to the stream. And I don't know what that was, but dang it, I was gonna copy and paste it into Google Translate. But I guess that's okay. Time changes tomorrow. Man, that's crazy because yeah, does it really? Or did time change for us already? I know it depends on where you are. Hold on. Mm, yeah, for us, is it November 2nd? I don't know. Whatever, it doesn't matter. But anyway, just so you guys can know, like my top 5. So yes, Thousand Autumns by Monk Sure is in my number 1 spot. Then YUWU is in number 2. Peerless currently in number 3. SVSSS is number 4, and Devil Venerable also wants to know is in the 5th spot. My honorable mentions are going to be Arha in 6th place. The disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. Why are you in 7th? You should not be right there. Hold on. 6th place is Arha by Meat Bun, and 7th place is TGCF or Heaven Officials Blessing by MXTX. So thank you for the stream. You're welcome. LOL, I was checking up something and language was different. Sorry. Oh, no worries. But yeah, so that's all for today, you guys. I hope you all enjoyed this live stream. I'm still working on this. I think I might be able to get it to you all in December on Patreon. Sorry, let me clarify that. On Patreon only. The other thing I do want to mention is that um, on my Patreon, not at the moment, but sometime in the new year, but for Chinese New Year, I will have a sale um, for everyone to join if you would like to, because what I want to do is create a 3rd tier to have more lives. And I also am going to be changing the prices, but everyone who joins in that time frame, which when we get there, we'll get there, but I'm just letting you guys know in advance. Even with the price change, everyone who joins in that time period will be grandfathered in to whatever price you have. So I think the tier I have now, Cultivator in Training, is $2. Head Disciple is $3. The next tier I'm going to make is going to be $5. And I'm hoping to go live more often during the week. So maybe like 2 more times in the month, and we'll choose a day. And then after that tier is created and we start doing that, then the prices will be changed. But everybody that joins, you will stay locked in at $2, $3, or $5. So anyway, I just am realizing that this channel and my Patreon are becoming more important to me than I expected. And I'm trying to like shift my focus around with my current job. So yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to let you guys know that because there will be more live sessions for Patreoners. Although I will try to do more live sessions on YouTube as well, because I know that many of you requested it in the live celebration. So I have to think about when we'll go live just randomly in November. So if there are things that you guys would like to go live about in November, just let me know, because we have the potential to just go live about anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be about what we're currently reading. It's not going to necessarily be a read along or anything like that or a celebration, but us just spending time together. So I would really like you guys' input so that we can do that. Really quickly before we go, just because you're here anyway, I actually want to test something with you all to see if this is something that we can potentially do together. Because if so, then I can definitely consider it. 1 second. Because I know that one thing someone had requested was that maybe we could like watch things together, which is going to be, that is a bit more difficult depending on the platform. Like doing watch parties together is hard on YouTube because certain platforms are going to block out their sound and video once you try to share your screen. But also for me personally, I think it's weird if I'm watching something that you guys can't see unless you have another device and are watching it as well. But sometimes there are shows, C-dramas and donghwas and stuff on YouTube. So I'm like, if I can just share my YouTube screen, then it's possible we could watch something together and see how that goes. So really quickly, what I want to test with you guys, since we're here, rather than doing it in my own time, because why, is to see if you guys can see this and hear this. This is Thousand Autumns on YouTube. So okay, can you all hear and see that? I just want to know, because if so, then this lets me know that we can definitely watch things together but as long as those things are stemming from YouTube. So I'll wait for you guys to answer that for me. And even when I look at playlists and stuff of things, C dramas that I had intended to watch, like let me just click on something. You said yes. Okay, so now I'm clicking something else just to make sure one last time. It's a different. Stop it. And you said sound is perfect and all. That's good. One more thing I'm testing. Um, okay, so Jasmine, you said for you, nope, not good. Really? Oh no. Okay, so could you all see and hear that as well? Because if so, this takes the channel to the next level. The case where maybe I can't monetize those videos, although I did like a test by myself once and it looked like it's still monetized, so it's whatever. Yes for the first, couldn't hear the second. Okay. Hmm. Sound before was good. Interesting. So I'm wondering if that's because it's 10-cent video. Let me just click on something random. Oh, okay. I'm literally. What about that one? I'm trying to see if the reason you can't hear anything is connected um, to it being 10-cent video. Because where I pulled up Thousand Autumns was literally from just like a random site. I mean, not random site, a random profile. Nope, no sound for me. Okay. So I think it's because it's it might be because it's 10 cent. They're like, excuse you. Good to know. Good to know. Okay. Let me see if I'll do like one more test because I just want to confirm my theory. Could you hear that? If you could hear that, then that verifies my theory and I'll know. And then that'll help me in my decision making um, for what we do. Stop sharing. There we go. Big no. Dang. It's so weird. Why could you hear one, but like not the. I didn't know it was playing. Wait, I couldn't hear that one either. No? Darn. Okay. Well, I don't know. I don't know. Watch parties might not be a thing. I mean, I don't know because it's just weird to me. Like, so I did look because I was trying to see how other people do watch parties, which for the most part, most people like record a video of themselves reacting to something and then put it up. But I saw for answer because $1,000. But like I saw Kickter and Stitch do a watch party, but they were watching on a different device and was like, everyone, you guys can go watch the same thing on your devices. And so there was nothing wrong with the way that they did it, but it was kind of weird, like if you just looking at the video basically, but not seeing the content. The first was fine. Yeah. So now I'm gonna click on it again and see if you can still hear it. And I would be like, 1 second. Okay. If you guys can, uh, still hear that one perfectly fine? Because if you do, then $1,000 is just like you can only hear me. Sound yay? Bruh, what is this? Okay. Okay, hold on. See, drama. Let me see if maybe it's because I went on a I don't know. Maybe it's I'm wondering if it's because I pulled up a different profile. Because I was on another YouTube profile. You can hear. 你的眉宇间有柔 Okay, so now we says that it's YouTube acting up. No. So what I think it is because I don't have like this a YouTube profile that I made is just for all things that I do here. I don't really have any playlists on here, but I had a YouTube before where I have all of my playlists, all the C dramas I plan to watch on YouTube and everything. And so I pulled up that YouTube account and shared that screen. So I'm wondering if it just wasn't working because it was on that account, but it's working when I'm using this account, but just a different tab. So the fact that you guys can hear it, very interesting. Because I pulled Thousand Autumns up on this account and then used my other account because I just knew where all of the C dramas were. So now we know. This is good. That means we can watch things together, which would I mean, it makes sense though, because I thought I received an email from YouTube saying that now we could stream lives of YouTube something. How did they word it? We can now stream live and react to lives or to react to videos on YouTube. So I was like, okay, so I can play a YouTube video and it'll play just fine? Is that what you're telling me? Now that theory has been proven to be true. By the way, Eris is a very wonderful Bender series. I hated the ending, but it was great. It was a great series. Um, why is it still on my list then? Oh, because I wanted to watch it again randomly once, but never actually got around to doing it. So that's that. You said, I wish they put another season for $1,000. Me too. And SBSFS. We're not getting either of those, though. I think we know that. So, yeah, now I think we've officially reached the end. I don't have any more announcements. Tomorrow, we are going live. And then I have to figure out the schedule for November, as far as when we're going live and everything for, yeah, for readings and for just having fun because it's also the month of Thanksgiving. So that counts out the last Friday, Saturday. At least I'm assuming most of you will probably do something, at least for those who celebrate Thanksgiving. I don't know. But yeah, we'll figure all of that out. As we approach the end of this year, I still haven't decided on what I'll read in December. But I did want to, I don't think any of the people who suggested the Baihe are on here, but I did have a couple of people mention the blade, the the something blade, whatever it was. And I want to go ahead and just say, after thinking about it, I have decided that I do not want to read Baihe on my channel. Why? Really? Beauty's Blade. Thank you. Oh yeah, you were one of the people that recommended it. The reason I don't want to is so stupid. I hate voicing female characters. Says a female. But I have found that every time I'm reading a series and there's a female character that comes up, for some reason, it's really difficult for me. But then like voicing the men is very easily. And there's a part of me that thinks, oh, well, you just use the same voices you use for men on the women, but I can't necessarily do that for all of them because like the voices for Soibuchu and even Feng Xiao, I don't think those would be very fitting for women. But like my brain, every time I try to speak like a woman, like of course I could just use my natural voice to voice a character. But then like thinking about all of the higher pitches that I do sometimes when I'm voicing a female character, sometimes it just gets like I don't know, it's just harder to stay consistent in that voice and to always be speaking in this tone. Or even like when I think about Bai Li Ting Miao, I hated speaking in Bai Li Ting Miao's voice. Um, the only time I like speaking in a female voice is maybe when I have them like I think Qiao Xian or Qin Miao Yu. I can't remember, but or maybe even Shu Yan Yan, where their voices are a bit lower but not masculine. Um, Yes, like maybe when they talk like this. This is a bit easier for me when speaking as a woman, which is perfectly fine. But I don't know. I don't know why I struggle so. It's a weird thing. But and maybe that's just I need more practice in that arena, and acting in female voices because I mean when I first started this, I had to adjust to speaking in male voices. Maybe that's all it is, but nevertheless, I'm very uncomfortable with reading a book that's focusing on females and having to make so many female voices. So, anyway, yes, I won't be reading that on my channel, but I'm still figuring out what will be read in December, and I'll let you know when I decide. So, I know that there are several of you that need your rest and you're probably holding on just because I'm still rambling. So, what I'm going to do is, you guys are laughing at me. I am going to say, 我爱你们, and I hope you all have a beautiful day and or night. Get some good sleep. And reading uh, Ding Han Fusheng Records. Isn't that more than one book? So, yeah, what I'm trying to find is literally just one book, not something that's going to be a series and we have to wait for. Because the way I've positioned these next year, 2026, is trying to read series that are almost done or will be done a lot faster rather than reading something that just like already came. But yeah, literally one novel. So I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yes, have a great night. Have a great day. I will see you all next time. And I see you, the Astrolabe Rebirth. Yes, someone recommended that. I just haven't made a decision on some of the recommendations. But I don't know if I'll stick with Shasini, but Shasini says good night. So good night, you guys. Good day for me. Bye bye.